TSN presents Labatt's Blue Jays Baseball. Brought to you by Labatt's Blue, the clean, true taste of Canada. By Esso retailers and agents across Canada. By your local bottlers of Coca-Cola Classic. And by General Motors of Canada. History is being made in Baltimore tonight because for the first time in the history of Major League Baseball, two black managers will oppose each other. And this is the series we have been waiting for well over a month now, Buck Martinez. And it has sort of a World Series atmosphere to it, doesn't it?
It certainly does, Fergie. It's a very important series, but like we mentioned on the top, Cito Gaston, the manager of the Blue Jays, and Frank Robbins, the first time it's ever happened in the Major Leagues, two black managers. I think the reason they're managing two clubs is because they're both very talented people. Gaston has been an inspiration to the Toronto Blue Jays and has them back in the pennant race. Frank Robinson has finally mellowed out a little bit as a manager, and he's able to look back a little bit and sit back, let his players go ahead and play. He simply prepares them very well. That's why the Orioles are on top.
And the Orioles really have surprised everyone. Great defense and some pretty decent pitching.
It has been a big surprise. They've been a big turnaround since winning 56 last year, losing 104, but they've done it very basically, very fundamentally.
Jay Tibbs for the Baltimore Orioles, Mike Flanagan for Toronto. So stay with us tonight on TSN.
Back in Baltimore with Orioles manager Frank Robinson. And Frank, when you set out to turn around last year's dismal season for the Orioles, did you target one area where you really wanted to improve on and really make sure that you improved your ball club?
Well, you're absolutely right. We did. We targeted the defense and fundamental baseball. And what we wanted to do was have a good defensive ball club behind our young pitching staff that could catch the ball, make the plays, was defensively sound, fundamentally sound, and where we wouldn't give up the easy outs, the extra runs, putting people on base. And the defense has been just phenomenal, and we knew we had to play good defense to be successful.
Did you expect to turn it around this quickly?
No, not in my wildest dreams. With all the young players on this ball club, with the new people coming in, we felt like by the All-Star break we would maybe come together as a team, play better baseball the second half of the season. And we just came together right in spring training, believe it or not, and played very well in spring training. And opening the season, we've been playing very good baseball and has continued to play baseball, good baseball, and keep improving each day. And no one expected this. No one could foresee this. And if they did, I don't know what they're on.
Five-year veteran Jay Tibbs at 4-0, making his 7th start. This is the lineup he'll be facing. Felix in right, Fernandez at short, Gruber back in from the outfield to his old position at third, George Bell in left, McGriff at first, Lloyd Mosby making his 2nd start after missing 9 games, Ernie Witt, Mullenix, and Liriano. And the defense that backs up Tibbs is a pretty good one, Buck Martinez.
They lead the league defensively, and this is the reason that they're up there at the top of the league in the standings. Bradley, Devereaux, and Orslac in the outfield, they can go get it with anybody. Around the infield, it's Worthington, Ripken, Gonzalez, Milligan over at first. Bob Melvin gets a start behind the plate, and Jay Tibbs is on the mound. They compare this team to the Oriole team defensively of the 70s. It doesn't match up as far as I'm concerned on the infield, but the outfield certainly much better in this 1989 version.
Tibbs' last start was against Seattle. He left with an 8-2 lead after 8. The Orioles won at 8-6. But he's 3-0 in his last 4 starts, while the rest of the Orioles rotation is 5-7. He has been the most consistent lately. To lead it off for the Blue Jays and stepping in is Junior Felix. Larry Barnett behind the plate. Dale Ford at first. John Hirschbeck at second. Kosk at third. That first pitch, a strike to Felix. I guess by comparisons, Buck, if you want to compare infields, I noticed where that infield that you see out there for the Orioles, 16 errors. The Blue Jays infield that you'll see tonight have a total of 39 errors. So that tells a whole lot right there.
And the entire team has only made 33 errors for the Orioles. And that tells you why they're on top. No mistakes.
Another strike to Felix. 1-2.
Tibbs has really come into his own here this season with the Orioles. 4-0 coming into tonight's game. The reason why, they took a pitch away from him. They took the curveball away from him now, and he concentrates on fastball, slider, changeup. That has gotten him more consistent and had him pitching ahead more often this year.
Outside, 2-2 to Felix. Felix has hit safely in 13 of his last 17. He's been hot. Had a good series out in Oakland, 7 for 12. And he continues to do it all. He's just 21 years of age. Now what a dandy. A full count. Felix has only got 15 walks and close to 200 plate appearances. So you can see he doesn't walk often. Fly ball, left field. Phil Bradley back. And he one-hands it at the warning track.
Al Jackson, the pitching coach of the Orioles. Al, Jay Tibbs, it seems to be a late bloomer. Why do you think that happened?
Well, that happened in some instances with some pitchers. Some guys will mature and come around early in their career. Some guys much later. I think it's in Jay Tibbs' case. I think it's much later. This kid had 4 pitches before, just didn't have command of the strike zone. Didn't know who Jay Tibbs were. So now, as of late, we've taken some pitches from him, and the pitches that he's left with, he's been able to throw them over the plate for strikes. The count's been in his favor. Now he's got confidence, in which is a great importance of any pitcher, gaining confidence. He didn't have this for the last 5 or 6 years. Now he's gaining confidence, and I think he'll be the pitcher that he would like to be, and people have always expected him to be.
A ball and a strike to Tony Fernandez. Well, Tibbs' lifetime is 1-2 against the Blue Jays. All 3 starts against Jim Clancy.
Starting pitching has really caused Frank Robinson's Orioles a lot of problems in the last week or so. They had that swing on the West Coast. They followed the Blue Jays out to Oakland and Anaheim. And what happened was they only got about 3.5, 4 innings out of their starting pitching. That caused them to use up their bullpen. And right now, this pitching staff is pretty well beat up. They're simply used up. They need more innings from the starters, and they certainly could use a big outing from Tibbs tonight.
The 1-2 pitch to Fernandez, fouled back out of play. It's incredible, the performance by Tibbs this season. When you look back to last year, he established an Orioles club record by losing 10 straight. Chris Bosio lost the most in the American League, consecutively 11 for Milwaukee. Hit down to left field. Bradley will not get to it. It'll drop in for a base hit for Tony Fernandez. So both hitters have gone the opposite way off Tibbs.
This is a good hitting ball club right now. Fernandez really stroking the ball well. Goes with a fastball. Doesn't try to do anything more than hit it where it's pitched. Bradley's good speed allows him to cut it off and keep Fernandez to a long single. So with 1 out, Fernandez is on first base for Kelly Gruber.
And as you are well aware of, Gruber has been hot lately. Fernandez back at first. He's got 6 stolen bases. He's been caught a couple of times, but he can steal a base when you need it. A ground ball. Ripken, the shortstop. He'll go for 1. He does not get the double play as Gruber beats it out.
The ball wasn't hit sharp enough for Cal Ripken to turn the double play. Rene Gonzalez, the second baseman, getting a start in place of Billy Ripken, but Gruber just simply doesn't hit it hard enough. Slow ground ball to shortstop. Watch how quickly Ripken gets rid of it. Barely stays in his glove and fires a strike to the second baseman. Fernandez doing a good job of distracting Gonzalez, but it's all academic with Gruber's good speed.
Gonzalez, the second baseman. Billy Ripken, Cal Ripken Jr.'s brother, picked up an intestinal virus out in Anaheim and did not start tonight. George Bell, the hitter, with 2 down here in the first. Bell in the top 10 in RBIs in the American League again this season at 46. He's been tough with runners in scoring position, but he has not been hitting for average. Upstairs, 2-0.
Tibbs has always had good stuff. You go back to his original team, the Reds, and then he spent a couple of years in Montreal. Everybody kept waiting for him to put it together. It took the tutelage of Al Jackson to really bring things together for him here. And he certainly could be a key part, especially the fact he's pitched a little bit. He's a little bit older than the rest of the guys on this staff.
Little low, 3-0 to Bell.
Tibbs and Schmidt, Dave Schmidt, another right-hander in the starting staff for the veterans of the starting core. They're going to have to rely on their experience to carry them right on through this pennant race.
Fastball for a strike. I thought Bell might be swinging on that 3-0 pitch.
Looked like he was just sizing up Tibbs, like he didn't have a real good feel of the velocity yet. Took that one right down Broadway.
George is another one that hasn't walked too often, only 17 times and close to 300 at bats. The boys from the Dominican, they hate to walk, don't they?
Three swingers.
There goes Gruber. Bell hits it to right center field. Drops in, base hit. Gruber will be held up at third.
Kelly Gruber running on the pitch with a 3-1 count. Bell got a ball out over the plate. And this is a sign that he's starting to really swing the bat well. He doesn't try to pull it. It's an inside breaking pitch, and he just drives it up the alley into right center. So that tells me that Bell is really starting to feel good, the way he really takes that ball and drives it up the alley.
I thought he had excellent balance there. So many times we'll see Bell swinging with no balance at all at the plate. He'll be out in that front foot, or he'll be dancing, moving those feet around.
I think that his stroke is finally coming together.
Now Fred McGriff. McGriff homered off Tibbs last year and is 3 for 6 lifetime off the right-hander. I look for McGriff to have a big series here in Baltimore. Fred hasn't been swinging the bat that well lately. He did hit a game winner in Oakland last Thursday night, a 2-run shot.
He's actually been hitting left-handers harder than he's been hitting right-handers. He hit McClure for an RBI down in Anaheim, and then he got that home run off Brian Snyder. Boy, that really got in his kitchen. Tibbs had that fastball right on McGriff's hands. Now that's going to cause McGriff to turn it up a little bit. Rob Deere had a hot week last week, hit 5 homers. Bo Jackson been hampered by a hamstring pull. Mickey Tettleton, what a story he's been in Baltimore so far this year.
The comeback player of the century. Never mind the year.
Actually, he can't win that award because he's never had a good year. He can't come back from nothing. He's had good years, but nothing like that. There you look at him. He's the DH tonight. Switch hitting Mickey Tettleton.
A ball and 2 strikes. And if you're going to strike out McGriff, that last pitch, that's where you want to throw it. Keep it high in the strike zone. Catches McGriff looking with Gruber at third, Bell at first. A big strikeout for Tibbs and the Orioles. We head to the bottom of the first. No score here in Baltimore. You're watching Labatt's Blue Jays baseball on TSN. 15-year veteran Mike Flanagan at 4-5. His last outing was a beauty, 8 scoreless innings down in Anaheim, but he left the game with no decision. That's the lineup he'll be facing. Devereaux will lead it off. He came over from the Dodgers in the deal. Bradley in left, Cal Ripken, the mainstay of this team, at short, Mickey Tettle in the DH, Randy Milligan at first, Bob Melvin the catching, Craig Worthington, Orsulak, and Gonzalez.
The defense for the Blue Jays from in left field. Bell, Mosby's in center. Junior Felix moves to right. Around the infield, it's Gruber, Fernandez, Liriano, and McGriff. The veteran Ernie Witt behind the plate, and left-hander Mike Flanagan on the mound.
Ernie.
Flanagan, lifetime against Baltimore, is 1-2. He beat them back in '87. He lost twice last year. That first pitch is a little low to Mike Devereaux. Devereaux came over from the Dodgers for pitcher Mike Morgan in March of this year, and Morgan's having a pretty good year for L.A.
Mike Morgan leading the league in ERA. He hasn't fared too well in the one-loss department, but he's got it together.
A ball and a strike to Devereaux.
Big curveball catches the outside corner. Flanagan, since coming back, missing a couple of starts with a shoulder problem, has really got it together. He won his first time out, throwing 3-hit ball for 7 innings. That was against Detroit. And 2 no decisions, but fine outings. Last time, as we mentioned, against the Angels. 8 innings, 4 hits.
The 2-2 pitch. Full count. Flanagan has walked 20 in 80 2/3 innings. Ground ball, base hit, Devereaux, corner. Bell goes over, will play the carom. Devereaux has a double.
If Bell plays this a little better off the wall, he might have kept Devereaux at first base, because Devereaux fell down going around first base. Just inside the bag. Gruber can't get to it. Now watch Bell play this. This is a tough corner down here. There's concrete below the padding, but he looks up and just fires it back to the infield. But if he gets it a little more aggressively and fires it in there, he might have been able to hold Devereaux at first base. But Devereaux slipped and fell, rounding the bag.
Phil Bradley, the left fielder, hitting .362 over the past 12 games. A strike on the outside part of the plate. He has killed Flanagan over the years when he was with Seattle. Lifetime a .450 hitter off Flanagan and a couple of home runs. Flanagan's ahead. I'll tell you what, he had some smoke in that fastball.
Threw a pretty good fastball in an outstanding position. Inside fastball, trying to keep Bradley from hitting it to the right side to advance Devereaux from second. Bradley, a very heady ball player. He always knows what the situation dictates he do. He's got 2 strikes on him now. You watch. He's going to put a ground ball on the right side. Foul the tough pitch off. But Bradley, a very good student of the game, and he's been an integral part of this ball club's success this year. Not only defensively, but in this number 2 spot in the batting order.
He played for the Phillies last year and was acquired by the Orioles for Kenny Howell and Gordy Dillard. That was behind him, wasn't it?
It sure was. Flanagan trying to get a fastball inside. Really made sure he got it in there. Watch Bradley. He doesn't know which way to go. Whoops. Get that out of the way there. You can see Flanagan on the mound staring down at the ground, saying, what in the world happened on that one? But he was trying to bust him in, and Bradley stands right on top of the
I can't remember
plate.
seeing a pitcher throw behind a hitter, certainly not this season, and I can't remember it in a long time, with some smoke on it.
I'll tell you about one in just a minute.
Okay.
Change up outside.
2-2.
Jim Gott throwing to Robin Yount. Threw one behind him, and nobody knew it, but I caught it behind him. I've seen bats hit over batters' heads and they're on their shoulder.
2-2 pitch. Just misses. Full count.
This is a great matchup of 2 veterans. Flanagan on the mound, trying to keep Bradley off stride, in and out, changing speeds, little change up, and Bradley, you heard Fergie tell you how he sees Flanagan so well. Outside, he lost him. Ahead 0-2, and he lost Phil Bradley.
Ernie Witt, are you surprised how quickly Mike Flanagan is back on track after some shoulder problems?
Well, not really. I think he just needs a little bit of a break. I think the shoulder was bothering him a little bit, but you know, Flanny, he's a veteran pitcher, and he knows how to pitch, and he's come up with a real good changeup now. He's gone away from the palm ball changeup, and he's throwing like a three-finger changeup, and it's been very effective for him.
What that has done is it's eliminated the rotation of that palm ball that was tipping it off to the hitters. Flanagan felt they were seeing it too well. He changed it and has more a disguised fastball with that new style changeup.
Cal Ripken Jr., the hitter, as Bradley gets back at first. So Devereaux at third, Bradley at first, nobody out, and the number 3 hitter, Cal Ripken Jr. He's 1 for 8 lifetime off Flanagan, 0 for 9. Last couple of games, he's been in a little slump. Ripken playing in his 1161st consecutive game tonight. The 4th longest streak in the history of the major leagues. Outside.
This is where Ripken really becomes a problem for Flanagan. Mike has fallen behind, 2 balls, no strikes. Ripken has such great discipline at the plate. He can really pick out a pitch now. He stands so far away from the plate that it kind of sends the message to the pitcher that you can pitch him outside, when in fact that's exactly where Ripken wants the ball.
A shot at Gruber off his leg. Devereaux scores, and they're going to hold Bradley at third with nobody out. Kelly Gruber, who has played mostly in the outfield the last couple of weeks, comes back into play third and couldn't handle that hot shot.
Well, Ripken had the count in his favor and turns on this fastball. It goes off Gruber's glove and then down the line. Looked like it could have been a double play ball. Gets away. Now watch this ball down here. The fans in Baltimore know about this pennant race. Look at this. They're going to pull their gloves back. Say, don't touch it, don't touch it. If they touch it, everything is dead. Right here, Bradley comes hard. Ripken saying, stay right there on the bag. So even the fans got pennant fever here.
They will give Gruber an error, his 12th of the season. And the batter, Mickey Tettleton, the designated hitter.
Tettleton's a natural right-handed hitter. But from the right side, he's only hit 4 home runs.
He's been in a slump, 2 for his last 20. That pitch is low as Flanagan is fighting control problems. Now Witt will go out and talk to him.
You can see Flanagan's disgusted, but he's got to have a bit of a anxiety. I don't care how much you pitch or how many years you pitch, you're still coming back here to where you had the greatest years of your major league career in your home ballpark. Al Widmar checking out the lineup, trying to stay close. But Flanagan has had so much success here in Baltimore. All-time pitching statistics, he's 4th on the list with 139 wins. Strikeouts, he's 3rd behind Palmer and McNally. He's 6th in games, 3rd in innings. He's had a phenomenal career here as an Oriole.
Outside again, 3-0.
This is not what we've seen from Flanagan lately. So maybe the emotions have crept into this.
There's a strike. Flanagan has made more starts in the American League over the past 12 years than any pitcher. He's been a workhorse. Fly ball, center field. Mosby broke in. Now he goes back. Tagging and coming in to score is Bradley. So the Blue Jays and Flanagan finally get it out. The Orioles lead it 2-0. And Ripken Jr. heads on down to third.
Well, Tettleton cashes in his 40th run of the year, but it takes Mosby all the way to the warning track. He didn't miss this one that much. He got a ball out over the plate and really gave it a ride, and I'm surprised the ball carried that far, as humid as it is tonight, but he really drove that ball. Tettleton's enjoying a fine year, and there's another example of the Orioles' attitude this year. He just put it in play right side, not trying to muscle it out of the ballpark. He cashed in the RBI.
Randy Milligan takes a breaking ball for a strike. He was acquired by Baltimore from Pittsburgh. The pitcher Peter Bloom in November of '88. And he's done a decent job for these Orioles. Fly ball, deep right field. Felix goes back. He's at the wall. He jumps. It's off his glove. Ripken comes in to score. How about this first inning? Unbelievable.
If anybody thinks that the Baltimore Oriole club is a fluky club being in first place, they're mistaken. These guys are for real. I don't know if they can carry it throughout the year, but watch Felix go back here. Gets to the wall. I think he jumps a little early. He's got more room against that wall than he thought he had. Had he continued right to the wall, I think he would have had plenty of room to make it without jumping. He's still 3-4 feet away from the wall, and he jumps, and it goes off the heel of his glove. He didn't get back to that wall the way he should have, and that's going to get him Stern down in the bullpen. Cito Gaston not liking what he's seen already this first inning. Now Whitmore going out to talk to Flanagan, and Flanagan has gotten away from his in and out, adding and subtracting velocity as Frank Wills begins to throw down there. But the Orioles have developed a reputation of jumping out early. First inning, scoring runs, being aggressive, and setting the tone for the entire evening.
It was announced earlier that Frank Wills will not be starting on Thursday night. Instead, Dave Steed will pitch Thursday's ball game.
I think this scene right here really says a lot about Frank Robinson. He has become more of a tutor, an instructor, trying to bring these kids along slowly. In years past, Robinson was still too much of a player, I believe. He expected too much from his players. Why can't you play like Frank Robinson played? Mickey Tettleton having a great year, but still working hard, always trying to improve, maybe gain a little edge.
Robinson, a Hall of Famer, and one of the game's great. They gave Milliken a double. So that's 2 hits now off Flanagan, and a walk and an errant charge to Gruber. 3-0 Baltimore leading. 1 down. Bob Melvin, the catcher. Hitting .324 off left-handers this year.
Well, Melvin gets the call to start behind the plate when the Orioles face a left-hander. Tettleton moves to the DH spot. Melvin coming over from the Giants, formerly played in Detroit. Now they chase Milligan back to the bag. Milligan can run a little bit. If he catches you napping out there at second, he'll take a break. He can steal that bag.
That's popped up, and McGriff will not have a play over there down on the first base side. You know what I was going to say, Buck? This first inning here tonight might well tell the story for the series. We've seen bad defense by the Blue Jays. Gruber, that ground ball at third. That fly ball to Felix was a ball that he should have caught.
Well, you know, you got to think about these guys switching around positions now. Gruber's been out in right. Felix has been in center. And that ball traveling to right has a little different angle on it.
Inside.
You can say all you want about these guys being big leaguers and they should be able to play anywhere, but it's an adjustment each time they move positions. The ball travels to right field differently than it travels to center. A right-handed bat hit that to right, and it's slicing away from Felix. But he still misplayed it.
2 balls and 2 strikes to Melvin.
Flanagan's going to be out of gas in this first inning. hot, humid, right around 90 degrees at game time.
It was 100 degrees in downtown Baltimore earlier today. They set a record. Fly ball right field. Felix is there. Tagging is Milligan, but he'll stay there. 2 down. Felix made a couple of errors in the weekend in Saturday's game out in Oakland. So Craig Worthington, the third baseman, will step in to face Flanagan. Worthington's on a 10-game hitting streak. Pretty good glove at third.
Worthington got the job over at third base when Juan Bell, George's younger brother, couldn't make it at short. They had moved Cal Ripken over to third, hoping Juan Bell could do the job at short, but it's really worked out in Worthington's favor. Juan Bell has since gone down to Rochester and has suffered some arm problems. He hasn't been playing lately. George's younger brother. They call him Cito Bell.
Base hit left field. Milligan will come in to score, and Bell gets it back in to hold Worthington to a single. 4-0 Baltimore.
Well, the Orioles suffered through 3 straight losses in Anaheim against some tough pitching, and right now Flanagan is throwing just what they like out over the plate. He didn't get it down to Worthington. George Bell cuts it off. No play at the plate, fires it back to the infield. But Craig Worthington drives in his 31st run of the year.
Now Joe Orsolak, 5-year veteran. Cito Gaston looking on and doesn't like what he sees. There's a strike in the inside part of the plate. Orsolak hit .357 against Blue Jay pitching last year.
He's another one of those great defensive outfielders. The Orioles have 5. The 3 that are starting tonight, Devereaux, Bradley, and Orsolak, and then Finley and Anderson.
That's popped back out of play.
The 2 best outfielders might be Finley and Anderson, but they're both troubled by nagging injuries. Anderson has a bad back. Finley's bothered by a sore thumb. But they've got 5 outfielders that can go get it.
You could really feel how pumped up the Blue Jays were before the game tonight. He reaches. Lariano pulls that line drive down. So 8 hitters face the left-hander Mike Flanagan. He gives up 4 runs, a couple of hits, an error to Kelly Gruber, and a walk. 4-0 Orioles lead it. You're watching Labatt's Blue Jays baseball on TSN. Frank Robinson on the right, Cito Gaston on the left. As things are a little easier for Frank Robinson tonight, as his Orioles have busted out into a 4-0 first inning lead here in Baltimore. But we've still got 8 innings left, as Lloyd Mosby will lead it off here in the second. Just 1 earned run in that first inning for Baltimore, 3 unearned. Strike to the shaker. Mosby hit over 300 against the Orioles last year. But it sure has been a different sort of year for Mosby. Bothered by back problems, in and out of the lineup. A lot of trade talks. A 1-1 pitch. Off the handle, it might drop in. It's foul by about a foot. They'll sure scramble for that one.
Well, Lloyd has such a big swing now. That was a slider that got it on his hands. His mechanics are such that he's really not on top of the ball. He's not getting on top of it and fighting that head out, get the head out in front. He's kind of looping it underneath, and that slider caught him way deep on the hands. Surprised that bat's still in one piece.
Well, all the Blue Jays have to do now is peck away at that 4-run lead. Mosby, 2 hits in his last 25 plate appearances, lays off that high pitch. Full count.
Well, if there's one part of this Oriole ball club that's hurting right now, it's the pitching staff. So if they can mount an attack, get into that bullpen, they might be able to get back into this game. Tibbs has been the Orioles' best starter. Won his last 3 starts.
And not only that, but in his last 6 starts, he's not allowed more than 2 runs in any of them. So he's been pretty consistent. And he has not given up a home run this season. Inside, Mosby draws a walk.
That's not the way to start for the Orioles. Post up 4 in the first inning and come back top of the second. Walk the leadoff batter.
Well, one of the great innings this year, we televised that game in Oakland, where the Blue Jays opened the game up with 7. The A's came right back with 6. 13 runs in that first inning. Anything can happen. Ernie Witt. A ball to Witt, as Melvin has a few words to say to Tibbs.
Melvin coming over from the Giants, as I mentioned earlier, had a stint in Detroit, but he was the player they received when they shipped Terry Kennedy out to San Francisco.
How do you rate him as a catcher, Buck?
He's very good defensively. He's still a youngster. He's 25 years old, just starting to get comfortable back there. Has never had a chance to really play every day. The Giants had this young catcher, Kurt Manwaring, who's really come along. Terry Kennedy's doing a good job for the Giants this year, so the change of scenery has helped him. I think Melvin will do a nice job for the Orioles in this role.
Count is a ball and a strike to Ernie Witt. With Mosby down at first, nobody out second inning here in Baltimore. He's lost his control. Now Melvin will go out and try to settle him down.
Sometimes when you're staked to this big a lead early in the game, you simply go out there and say, all I got to do is throw the ball over the plate. I got a 4-run lead. Don't have to worry about it. Lose your concentration. Cal Ripken Sr. called back as the third base coach. Frank Robinson saying, you make sure you get a good ball to throw. Finish it up, but it's good to see Cal Ripken Sr. back here. Frank Robinson replaced Cal as the manager after 6 games last year.
Of course, they had that 21-game losing streak to kick off the season last year.
If they'd have gone by the same criteria that they fired Cal Ripken after the 6 straight losses, they'd have fired Frank Robinson 2 more times. 15 in a row to start his managerial tenure here.
Some people thought they were going to. The 3-1 pitch. There goes Mosby. A shot hit right at the second baseman, Gonzalez. Ripken drops the ball. Now, he is still called out by John Hirschbeck.
I don't think that was the appropriate call. I don't think Ripken was trying to get the ball out. Now Ripken's arguing that Mosby knocked the ball out of his hand. Gaston's going to go out there and inquire with Hirschbeck whether or not Ripken was taking the ball out of his glove. Let's have another look at it. Ripken contends that Mosby knocked the ball out of his glove. Gonzalez flips quickly to Ripken. Now watch Mosby's hand. He swings and swipes at his arm. Yes, indeed, he knocked it out of his glove, so Ripken has a point. Now we're having 2 arguments. Mosby's saying he dropped the glove, never got into it. He clearly didn't go in there to throw the ball. Watch the glove. He clearly did not go in there to throw the ball. Mosby knocks the ball out of his glove right there. His bare hand wasn't even close to the glove, so he couldn't have gone in there to throw it. Gaston's going to lose his part of the argument. Now Frank Robinson's going to take over and try to argue that it should be called a double play. He's talking with Hirschbeck. Robinson's saying that Mosby came and hit his hand. Have another look at it. Gonzalez saw he had enough time, flips it to Ripken, who has to go down a bit and field it. Now Mosby's right arm clearly knocks it out of the glove. Hirschbeck says you're out because he was taking it out of the glove. That's not the accurate call, but Mosby may be benefited by the Robinson argument here if he doesn't win it. It all works out just the same. Mosby should have been out. Maybe they could have turned the double play. But Gaston, he didn't win his argument, nor did Frank Robinson.
So with one down, Ernie Witt then will be at first. And the batter will be the designated hitter, Rance Mullenix.
Scoring-wise, that simply goes as a fielder's choice.
Blue Jays got a break.
Yes, they did. Could have been a double play.
Strike on the outside part of the plate to Mullenix, who has been in a terrible slump. Past 17 games hitting .178. Just 6 extra base hits this season. You know, you're looking at a guy that hit over 300 for the Blue Jays last year.
He got off to such a bad start, and then he started putting pressure on himself, expecting himself to get 2 or 3 hits a game. You just got to even it out. He's never been a real streaky hitter, been very consistent, but he wasn't getting any hits, and he started to panic a bit.
Worthington in on the grass down at third, even with the bag. Outside 2-1. Johnny McLaren flashing those signs to Ernie Witt down there at first, and Mullenix the hitter. Base hit, right field.
Ernie Witt moves up 90 feet to second base. Mullenix off to a fast start tonight with a solid single.
What I like to see about this shot, we don't see Mullenix pull the ball very often, but.
Well, he was in a count where he could look for a ball inside. 2 balls and a strike, and he had to count in his favor, and he really got the hit out.
Well, you remember back in the first inning, the Blue Jays had 2 runners on. They left them on. And here they've got 2 on here in the second. So at least they're getting to Tibbs. Now they've just got to put together a few runs across that plate. Liriano takes the ball.
Liriano should be a guy that gets to Tibbs. Tibbs has thrown a lot of fastballs, a lot of hard sliders, and that's what Liriano likes. Let's see if that matchup works for the Blue Jays.
Inside 2-0.
Well, that pitch right there is going to cause Al Jackson to come out and have a talk with his pitcher. Al Jackson, first-year pitching coach of the Orioles. Spent many years with the New York Mets, pitched for the Mets.
He sure turned this staff around, didn't he?
In a hurry.
He must be some sort of a magician.
He wants to be very simple about his theory. Eliminate walks, eliminate the pitches you don't have command of, and be aggressive. He's saying, listen, Bob, Jay, let's get it together. We got a lead, 4-run lead. Let's pitch ahead a little bit. They've fallen behind here in the second inning, and that's caused Tibbs some problems. Short and sweet, Al Jackson back to the dugout.
The Orioles have just lost 3 in a row to the California Angels, even though they've won 7 of the last 10, while the Blue Jays have won 11 of their last 15. That pitch is low. 3 balls and no strikes. So you got to know Liriano will be taking a pitch in this situation.
Trying to get to the top of the lineup.
Ball 4. The bases are loaded for Junior Felix.
Remember, this is the first time these two clubs have met, so Frank Robinson doesn't know an awful lot about Junior Felix except the advanced scouting reports that Ed Farmer has sent in. Their advanced scout. So they really don't have a feel for how to pitch to Junior Felix. Gaston knows that Felix has a lot of power in this small frame. Hit a home run in Fenway Park well over the Red Sox bullpen, 430 feet, and then hit one about 440 in Anaheim. So Felix could tie this thing right up. He hit it inside the park grand slam in Fenway back in the first trip.
And he's had a couple of 4-hit games. He's been named the American League Player of the Week. So he has done a lot more than most expected. But he's got a chance to put the Blue Jays right back into this one.
We're going to have another meeting between Melvin and Jay Tibbs on the mound. They're out to talk about signs right now. I think they want to switch a little bit, hoping that with Mullenix down at second base that they don't pick up anything and relay it on to Felix.
Felix this year has been hitting .408 with runners in scoring position. Naturally, that leads the club. Pops him up out into left center field. Devereaux tagging and coming in to score is Ernie Witt. So the Jays at least are on the scoreboard.
And that's something that has impressed me by Felix. He's disappointed that he missed it and popped it up a little bit. But he is very aware of the situation. He got the ball up in the air, played it 1 run. He's disappointed he didn't get a base hit to keep the inning going and maybe drive in 2. But at least they cashed in that 1 run. Witt tagging up. Devereaux in the background makes the catch. Witt makes sure that he doesn't leave too early because Devereaux is so deep in center. Comes across with the first Blue Jay run.
4-1. 2 down here in the second inning, and the red-hot Tony Fernandez at the plate. Tony singled in the first inning. Ground ball down to Gonzalez. He'll flip it to Ripken for the force on Liriano. So the Orioles get out of this inning lightly. 4-1 ball game. Baltimore leads. You're watching Labatt's Blue Jays baseball on TSN. 6 games back of the Baltimore Orioles, with the Yankees 5.5 back of Baltimore. But right here tonight, the Jays have their work cut out for them. 4-1, second inning. As the number 9 hitter in the Orioles lineup, Gonzalez will lead it off. Devereaux and Bradley will follow. Rennie Gonzalez, just a couple of hits, past 7 games. That's it. There are the standings there. Blue Jays 2 games under 500, and look at the Orioles, 10 games over 500. Flanagan, that first inning, threw 34 pitches. So don't expect him to be around much longer than the 5th or 6th inning. You know, unless he really has some low pitch totals.
We've seen Flanagan in the past struggle through an inning or 2 early and then really settle in. He is such a knowledgeable veteran pitcher that he can make the adjustments during the course of a game. He'll go back in between innings and have a chat with Al Widmar and put it to work in the next inning.
He's ahead in the count, a ball and 2 strikes to Gonzalez.
We saw it in Chicago against the White Sox where it looked like he wasn't going to get out of the first inning. He got it together. The Blue Jays came back and won it.
A ground ball, Gruber to McGriff.
Cito, Gaston, because the Orioles have so many new players, do you really put more stock into a scouting report than a normal series?
Yes, we have to, Bucky, because, you know, we've never seen this club, and I guess as it got closer to playing these guys, we started to ask other managers, other players, other coaches about this ball club so we could prepare ourselves for it, because it's a bit of a mystery to see this club turn itself around like it has this year.
Devereaux, the hitter, he doubled inside the third baseline in the first inning.
And Devereaux's one of those new players that the Jays haven't seen an awful lot. They're not real sure about where he's going to hit their pitching staff, so it's a bit of a hunt and see. Let's see where we're going to play him, how we're going to pitch him. We'll just be open during the course of a game to move people around.
Ground ball, Gruber to McGriff, 2 down.
So after booting a hot shot off the bat of Cal Ripken, Gruber's been tested a couple times here in the second inning. It's made the plays very routine.
This TSN telecast is presented by authority of the Toronto Blue Jays and may not be rebroadcast in any form without the express written consent of the Blue Jays. Bradley with 2 down, walked and scored in the first. Fly ball into the gap in right center field. Felix knocks it down, gets it back in, but Bradley has a double.
Bradley is such a versatile player right here. Takes the ball inside out, it stays on top of it. Nice level swing and drives it in the alley into right center. Felix does a good job knocking it down, but not before Bradley goes into second base with a 2-out double.
That was a pitch that Flanagan hung.
Got it out over the plate where Bradley could get on top of it. Boy, he's a good player. Always liked him since first saw him in Seattle.
Well, in 3 of the 4 years for the Mariners, he hit 300 or better. Now Cal Ripken Jr. takes a strike. As Buck told you, he hit that hot shot to Gruber in the first. It was a tough play for Gruber, but one we've seen him make many, many times. So he was charged with an error. There's another strike at the knees.
Here's where Flanagan's really got to make a good pitch. Way out in front, 0-2 to Ripken. You remember back in the first inning, he was 0-2 to Bradley and eventually walked him. But he's got to bust him off the plate above his belt with a fastball one time right here. Let's see if they go inside. Sinker ball away. There's a real fine line out there between getting Ripken out and having Ripken wear you out. On the outside half of the plate, Ripken stands so far off the plate, he likes to extend those arms and get out over the plate. If you take it 6 inches further, he can't hit it.
Curveball, it's outside, 2-2 the count. Ripken for 7 consecutive years has hit 20 home runs or more. Only the second shortstop to do that one. The other one, of course, Mr. Cub, Ernie Banks. Left field, Bell. He's got it for the 3rd out. And Bradley is left stranded. So through 2 complete here in Baltimore. 4-0 or 4-1, the Orioles leading. You're watching Labatt's Blue Jays baseball on TSN. 4-1, 4 hits for Baltimore, 3 for the Blue Jays. 3rd inning here at Memorial Stadium. Kelly Gruber will lead it off for the Blue Jays against the right-hander Jay Tibbs. Gruber hit into a fielder's choice in the first inning. A high chopper to the 3rd baseman Worthington. And Milligan 1 down.
Worthington has real soft hands over at 3rd base. Makes all the plays he gets to. He's not a fast runner, but he's pretty quick on his feet. That first step, he has pretty good mobility. Comes on this little big bounding ball. Doesn't have a real strong arm, but very accurate and gets rid of it quickly. Throws Gruber out easily.
The Orioles with only 33 errors this season. They still remain on a pace to break the record of 84 in a season set by the Minnesota Twins last year. George Bell for a strike. Bell singled to right center in the first. Ground ball up the middle. Base hit for Bell. Gonzalez went a long way for that and looked like he was going to make it close.
Bell 2 for 2 with this ground ball up the middle. Gonzalez shading him towards the bag. Couldn't get to it. Gonzalez starting in place of Billy Ripken, who's been given a day off to get over that flu he contacted out in California.
Now Freddie McGriff pops that one up in the infield. Ripken out shallow center field. He'll make the play. 2 down.
Whenever Cal Ripken can get to a ball, you let him catch it. He doesn't make any mistakes out there. He's reminding the outfielders to help one another out as the lights haven't taken effect yet. Really not dark enough, but boy, if you can let Cal Ripken catch a ball, you let him take everything he can get to. There's a look. The sky still not completely dark. Twilight's still here and the lights are on, but they really haven't taken effect yet. The infielders and outfielders have to help one another locating those fly balls.
And it's a little hazy here tonight. Now Mosby takes that pitch outside for a ball. Mosby walked in the second. Bell at first, 2 down. Mosby with just 13 extra base hits this season. A lifetime .261 hitter. Still trying to get on track. Fly ball down the left field line, but it'll curve into the stands out of play.
Mosby still a little behind Tibbs' velocity.
Roland Heeman, the vice president, general manager, is somewhere in that box in there. I don't see him there yet. He will be our guest on Extra Innings tonight, and you can talk to him on how he molded this team together to get them into first place this season. Former general manager of the Chicago White Sox. Pretty interesting guy. 2 balls, 2 strikes. 2 down here in the 3rd inning.
Roland's been named executive of the year back in '83 with that White Sox when they won the pennant. He's certainly in line for consideration this year.
Right now he's a shoe-in. Off his handle to Ripken. He catches it in the air for the 3rd out. So Mosby was jammed again on that one, and Tibbs has settled down. 4-1, Orioles lead. You're watching Labatt's Blue Jays baseball on TSN. The Orioles will be their designated hitter, Mickey Tettleton.
Mickey Tettleton, everybody's looking to a magic potion of secret about your success with the long ball this year. 17 homers to this point. You really don't think there's anything special other than your playing time?
Well, I think it's just a matter of getting consistent at-bats and having the opportunity to go out there and play every day. I think it's a lot more relaxing feeling when you go to the plate each time, and you're trying to do something good, but it always doesn't work out that way.
Tettleton was released by Oakland last year and signed by the Orioles to a AAA contract.
At-bats is the key to Tettleton's success. He has 238 now. Last year he had 283, most in his career.
Mickey Tettleton, tell me about the Fruit Loops. You got everybody in Baltimore eating Fruit Loops now.
Well, it was just something that I got started in spring training. I just ate a bowl one morning, and I hit a home run, and my wife made a very innocent statement one night on the cable TV show here, and the next thing you know, it's just all over Baltimore.
Back last homestand, 31,000 fans were throwing Fruit Loops onto the field.
That evens up the count at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Well, if you look back to last season, he only hit 11 home runs, the most he's ever hit in the major leagues.
But that was in 283 at-bats.
Yep.
So he's got the at-bats, and he's really not that far off that ratio. 11 homers in 283 last year, 17 in 238 this year. That's within reason. Look at the size of him. He's a big guy. He works out every day with Tom McCraw on the hitting tee. I mean, that's not an accident he's hit 17. Look at the size of those arms.
Full count. Flanagan issues a walk. That's the second one he has given up. But you hate to walk the leadoff hitter.
You just put more pressure on yourself now, really having to make a good pitch to Milligan, who doubled his first time up. Flanagan now would like to get a ground ball. Milligan, good double play candidate. Doesn't run that well.
Look out, that's a rope to left. Bell will not get to it. It's off the wall. Tettleton heads to third, and Milligan has another double. Oh, that was a screamer.
The only thing that kept that ball in the park was height. He didn't get it up, but he crushes this ball out over the plate. Watch how Bell plays this thing off the wall. He does a great job of getting this current. One hop right to his glove and fires it back to the infield. He saved a run right there. Tettleton has to stop at third base. Boy, that's a power swing. Just crushed off the wall. Watch the carom. Bell plays it on a hop perfectly. Gets it back into the infield, and Bell is playing a much improved outfield lately.
Bob Melvin, the hitter. Melvin flied out to Felix in right, first inning. Frank Wills is up and throwing again in the Blue Jay bullpen. 4-1, and the Orioles are threatening here again. That's chopped down to the third baseman. Gruber checks Tettleton, fires across, and gets Melvin. 1 down.
One good pitch by Flanagan right there. He got the slow ground ball to third in a situation that anything would have scored a run. But now he's going to have to pitch tough to get out of this situation and keep the Orioles right where they are at 4-1.
Worthington came into this game hitting .224, but he had an RBI in that first inning, and he has been tough with runners in scoring, hitting .324. Misses for a ball.
The Blue Jays infield is playing in. They can afford to play in on this grass field. It's not quite as quick as they're used to, but you remember they've been playing on grass fields for a week now, Oakland and Anaheim. So they can play in on this situation and get Flanagan to throw a sinking fastball and maybe get a ground ball and hold Tettleton at third. Tettleton doesn't have good speed, so he'll have to make sure it goes through the infield.
Outside, 2 balls and no strikes. They should surpass the 1 million mark here tomorrow night. And the pace that they're on as far as attendance is concerned here in Baltimore, it is the second best ever in the history of the ball club. So that's what winning will do for you. Low, 3 balls and no strikes.
The comeback kids. They've come a long ways from last year. A lot of enthusiasm on this team. Al Jackson on the mound. He's even talking about Mike Flanagan.
4 straight balls. That might bring a trip from Cito Gaston. He's got a left-handed hitter up, Orsolak, as Cito just hung up the phone.
Wills has got to be ready. He's been up now twice tonight. I'm sure he's ready as John Sullivan looks on. But Flanagan's got a left-handed batter in Joe Orsolak. He'll be a tough guy to double up with the bases loaded. The defense has moved back to double play depth, but Orsulak, good speed, and he hits from the left side. He'll be a tough guy to double up.
Bases loaded. Fouled off.
Flanagan's not making things easy on himself. Leadoff walk, followed by a double to left. Good pitch, down and in. Sinker ball that Orsulak swung over the top of.
Orsulak's the number 8 hitter in the lineup, and Flanagan could sure use a strikeout here. Drops down again and just misses outside.
Orsulak's a tough guy to K. Only punched out 17 times in 185 at bats, and Flanagan has his work cut out for him.
The 1-2 pitch. Change up, and he was way out in front.
Orsulak chokes up on the bat. Coming into the game, he was batting .299. He slipped to 2 points to .297, but you can see that batting style, choking up on the bat, good bat control, just trying to make contact and take advantage of his good speed. Fouled at the plate. The Blue Jays outfield defense doesn't expect Orsulak to pull the ball. That's the book on him. Of course, they played against Orsulak last year, so they're very familiar with his batting style.
He lined out to Liriano in the first inning. That's chopped foul again.
That's why he doesn't strike out much. Fights off the tough pitches.
He's got to try and pitch him down and in again. Fly ball, center field. Mosby broke in. Now he goes back. Tagging and coming in to score is Tettleton. It is 5-1 for Baltimore.
Good at bat by Joe Orsulak as he fouled off some tough pitches and then got a ball out over the plate that he could handle. He drives it far enough for the sacrifice fly. Mosby goes to second base with the throw, but Milligan, going from second to third, doesn't run that well as Tettleton comes across to score the 5th run for the Blue Jays against the Blue Jays.
Now Gaston comes out to talk to Flanagan. Flanagan threw 34 pitches the first inning and then had a relatively easy second inning with only 12. But his pitch total is up right here in the third. A total of 66 pitches so far, and he's going to stay in. Milligan at third.
That's a key trait that we've seen from Gaston, where he goes out in a situation where you might suspect he would make a pitching change, but he goes out there and says, listen, I know you've been struggling to this point, but I've got confidence in you. Get out of this inning, get us a chance to score some runs for you, and we'll get back in this ball game. We've seen it happen time and time again since Gaston's taken over, but the pitcher really feels pumped up by this.
Gonzalez fouls that pitch back out of play. He grounded out to Gruber in the second, so he's 0 for 1 tonight. The number 9 hitter in the lineup. He's a player who came over from the Expos in '86. Remember, the Orioles sent catcher John Stefero over. outside for a ball. 1-1 the count to Gonzalez. There's a strike. 1-2. Coming into this game, the opposition was hitting .264 off Flanagan. And so far, they've picked up 5 base hits. 3 of the first 4 runs in the first inning were unearned. I guess it should be a 2-1 ball game right now.
Now, what has propelled the Orioles into first place, defense, has caused the Blue Jays' demise tonight, at least to this point. 5-1.
A ground ball. Gruber backhands it. He's got it. He can't make the throw. The run will score. It is 6-1.
Gruber just had to give ground to catch that bounding ball on the right hop. Gonzalez has good speed. Slow hit bounding ball. It takes a high bounce. He has to give ground to backhand it. He knows that he has no chance on Gonzalez. Sticks it in his pocket. Base hit RBI for the Orioles second baseman.
Now the leadoff hitter, Mike Devereaux. Devereaux tonight doubled and scored in the first, grounded out in the second. And look at that score. 6-1 through 3 here in Baltimore. 2 down. For the Orioles, a chance here to score more.
It's funny how things work out. Devereaux coming from the Dodgers. Another one of those great minor league players in Albuquerque, hit .340 with 13 homers. And now the Dodgers are shopping around for some offense.
And guess who they're looking for? An outfielder that can hit. They got lots of outfielders that can play defense, but none or a few that can hit.
They'd like to have Devereaux's bat, .302 in this situation. They need base runners over there in LA, and they're looking to Dan Gladden in Minnesota.
But he's on the DL. Two balls, 2 strikes. The count to Devereaux.
This is a very spunky ball club here in Baltimore this year. They weren't expected to do much, and they're pretty proud of what they've done.
You know, the way Mike Morgan pitched for the Orioles, you would have to think that was going to be the steal of the year for Baltimore, to get Devereaux for Morgan. But Morgan is, well, he's leading the National League in earned run average. He's done a good job for the Dodgers.
The Orioles just couldn't wait any longer for Morgan. They had
Well, a few teams have waited on Morgan, including the Blue Jays.
Coming into this year, Mike Morgan had the worst record of any major league pitcher that has 20 victories or more. 39-64.
What did he pitch for the Yankees? He pitched for
Started with
Seattle.
Oakland. Started out of high school. Signed as a high school player. Went right to Oakland. That probably hurt him more than anything in his career. He bounced around, but I'm happy for him. Leading the National League in ERA.
Full count to Devereaux. Runners on the move. That's fouled back just below us. Just misses our cameraman. A 6-1 ball game. Baltimore leading. 2 down in the 3rd inning. Ball 4.
That's got to be all for Flanagan.
Yeah. It is. Here comes Cito Gaston.
So Mike Flanagan had 2 shaky innings here. The first when he was touched up for 4 runs. And he's already allowed 2 here in the 3rd inning. And he was just bad.
And he leaves with the bases loaded.
He knows it. He's been outstanding since suffering some shoulder problems. Had 3 good starts in a row. But this one ends the string.
In a big game, the veteran 37-year-old Mike Flanagan just couldn't seem to find his control here tonight. And he'll leave trailing 6-1. This pitching change is brought to you by Absorbine Jr., the relief specialist. You'll remember this man's last outing out in Oakland. The Blue Jays scored 7 runs in the 1st inning. And then Oakland came back with 6. And it was against Wills. And he didn't get out of the inning.
This appearance didn't come a bit too soon for Frank Wills. He wants to erase the memory of that start in Oakland. He had 2 outstanding starts and then 2 shaky starts in a row. 0-1, 4.22 ERA, most of that coming on the 2/3 of an inning outing in Oakland. But I think this is his role right here.
Because in relief, he's done a pretty good job as an upset Mike Flanagan looks on.
Wanted to do well here in Baltimore, where he played so long with his new ball club, the Blue Jays, trying to get them back into the pennant race. They need 2 out of 3 in this series, in my estimation, to continue the momentum. They're 5-2 on this trip. If they could come out of it 7-3, be in good shape.
So with the bases loaded, the first man that Wills will face will be the red-hot Phil Bradley.
Phil Bradley, basically the Orioles are a young team, but 2 veterans, yourself and Cal Ripken, really lead by example. Do you feel like you have to go out there and be one of the team leaders?
Well, I think so. I think the biggest thing for young players is the ups and the downs. You know, you've been going along so well as an individual, playing well, and the next thing you know, you're in a little bit of a slump. And young players have a tendency to start doubting themselves. And the more we do as a team and as the veterans to take the pressure off the young guys, the more they can concentrate and relax and go out and do their thing.
That first pitch was a strike to Bradley. Blows that one by him. You know, in relief, Wills has done a pretty good job for the Blue Jays. He's given up just 2 earned runs in 12 2/3 innings.
I think he just had too much anticipation in that starting role, where he sat around and tried to be too smart, figure out how to pitch to the guys.
And especially after 2 good outings.
Some people are just meant to have a certain role on a team, and I think Frank's is in relief.
And that's chop foul down the left side. Well, now all of a sudden he was thinking that, hey, maybe I'm going to be a starter.
Maybe I'm a starter, yeah. You know, you think back to spring training, where he had no chance of making the ball club. He pitched as well as he ever has in his career, and he told me the reason he threw so well was he knew he couldn't make the team. He was relaxed as could be, wasn't worried about making the team and pitching well every time out, and really threw the ball well. So that told him that in his career, he always tried too hard, put too much pressure on himself.
The 0-2 pitch fouled off again.
Boy, what a rip Bradley had. Bill's got that slider up in Bradley's eyes, and he really took a whale at it. Nice compact swing. Bradley hits from a real compact stance, holds that bat right around the letters. Stands right up on top of the plate. You can see he chokes up about 1 inch on that bat too. Good bat control.
Misses high and away. Well, Bradley's always been a second half player, and this year he is putting some decent numbers up the first half, so look out. And he just had a miserable year in Philadelphia last year. Count remains a ball and 2 strikes. What would you say, close to 30,000 here tonight?
I believe so. It's a nice big crowd. They've really been drawing well. The town has really gotten behind this young ball club, and they're enjoying the rankings, the standings right now as the Orioles are on top of the American League East. Boy, we're having another good at bat here by an Oriole hitter. Bradley with that short, compact swing fought off a tough fastball from Frank Wills. I don't know if you'll ever meet anybody as intense as Phil Bradley. He is 100% business. He steps on that field, and his job is to beat you. He'll figure out some way to do it.
He's one of the few guys that'll sit in his dugout when the opposing team takes batting practice, and he'll watch how they hit it. What a job by Wills. He strikes out Bradley with the bases loaded. But the Orioles still score a couple of runs here. Good sinker. You're watching Labatt's Blue Jays baseball on TSN. Now let's go to the a 6-1 Baltimore Oriole lead as Ernie Witt strolls to the plate.
Ernie Witt, this is the first time these two clubs have met. Do you think it's too early to put that much importance on this first series?
Well, I think it's important for us. Whenever you're 6 games behind, you want to do well, and you know they've got a lot of new ball players over here, so it's going to be a lot of trial and error tonight. We're going to see what they're capable of doing. We know that they're a very aggressive team, and we're just going to have to keep an eye on them.
You've got to remember the Blue Jays have 13 games left before the All-Star break, including tonight's game. 6 against the Orioles, 4 against Boston, and 3 against Detroit. So 6 of the 13 are on the road, 7 back in the Sky Dome. And their main objective is to get to 500 and as many games over 500 as possible. And right now they're 2 under 500. 2 balls, no strikes. Witt went after that one away out of the strike zone as Ripken, the shortstop, will make the play.
The Labatt's player of the game for Toronto will receive a selection of shaving products from Remington, the grooming company, including the Remington Ultimate Shaver, the shaver that shaves as close as a blade or your money back. Just one of the precision line of grooming products for men and women from Remington. As well, an amateur baseball team will be the guest of Remington at a future Blue Jays game.
You wonder what a veteran like Ernie Witt is thinking about. 2 balls, no strikes, and one away out of the strike zone, and he goes after it. You've got to be taking a strike in a situation like that, I think, when you're 5 runs down.
There is no reason to swing at a ball like that. Ernie knows that. He's just over anxious, trying to make things happen, get something started. He'll be talking to himself in the dugout.
Mullenix, another base hit to right field. He's 2 for 2 tonight.
And now Ernie Witt will even talk to himself more. Mullenix swinging that bat, getting the head out, finally pulling the ball a little bit. Good swing. Look at his head. Watch the concentration. He really turns on that ball. Pulled it into right field. Carbon copy of his first hit.
So Nelson Liriano, who walked in the second, steps in. Outside for a ball.
Boy, Worthington well in on the grass at third base, taking away the bunt from Liriano. He knows that Liriano has that weapon in his arsenal. He's taken that away from him.
There's a strike. Blue Jays announced today that left-hander Jeff Musselman was optioned to Syracuse. Musselman had just completed a 20-day rehab program with the Chiefs and apparently pitched pretty good. But they're going to leave him in Syracuse.
Well, they want him to get some innings. Make sure that he's totally sound. He's coming off some arm problems from last year. Good to see him back active again, playing again. He'll be here before long.
The 1-2 pitch to Liriano. High chopper in the infield. Ripken gets one. A high throw into the Blue Jay dugout. So Liriano will head on down to second.
Remember this night, folks. You don't see Cal Ripken throw away a tailor-made double play like that very often. He was struggling to find the bag with his feet. He takes this bounding ball over the mound. Now watch how he struggles to find his bag. He catches it right there, and he's kind of kicking around the bag trying to find it. And it takes his concentration away from the throwing part of the double play, and he throws it over the head of Milligan at first.
That's just his 5th error of the season. And in comparison, Fernandez has only made 2. So with 2 down, Liriano at second, the batter, the leadoff hitter, Junior Felix. Felix tonight 0 for 1, sacrifice fly, RBI. There's a strike. He drove in Ernie Witt from third with the Blue Jays' only run in the 2nd inning.
Let's see if they can capitalize on that defensive miscue by Ripken.
Yankees leading Detroit 3-2 in the 5th inning. Felix knew that he should have gone after that one. Tibbs ahead 0-2.
Well, the Blue Jays are establishing a pattern that'll drive you crazy. They've stranded 5 already through the first 3 innings, and they're in danger of stranding another out there at second base in Liriano. They've gotten 2 Tibbs for base runners, but they can't cash in the runs.
Two balls and 2 strikes to Felix. Outside, full count. Tibbs has been all over the place tonight as well.
He has been up and down and on both sides of the strike zone, all over the place. But he's made a good pitch when he's had to get himself out of trouble. He's scattered 5 hits to this point. He's not quite sure of that pitch selection by Bob Melvin. He wanted to step out and regroup a bit. He'll ask for another sign.
You know, the Blue Jays have won 13 of the last 18 meetings between these 2 ball clubs. But this is a different Oriole team this year, believe me. Outside, ball 4. Felix is on with a walk.
You don't want to walk Felix with 2 outs to get to Fernandez, especially the way Fernandez has been swinging the bat lately. Robinson hates to see walks in that situation. He harps and harps and harps on not giving games away. He's got a 5-run cushion here. And with 2 outs, you walk the leadoff batter to get to a very potent Tony Fernandez.
Well, Flanagan walked 4. 2 of them came in to score.
Good rip by Fernandez. Very aggressive. Something we've seen throughout this stretch. He's gone up there with something on his mind, looked for a pitch and gotten it, and really hammered it. He's moved his hands out over the plate a little bit, gotten them away from his body, and that's really freed up his swing.
Line drive to center field, drops in, base hit. Felix will head around second into third, and Liriano comes in to score. It is 6-2 now. A clutch base hit by Tony Fernandez.
Sinking fastball out over the plate. He just flips it into center field for the RBI. But Fernandez continues to swing the bat well, and he's crept the Blue Jays to within 4. Felix goes around the third. Devereaux, not trying to force things, throws it into second as Liriano scores.
You had to wait until Devereaux got close to that ball because it looked like it was just going to hang up.
And this outfield defense has made so many outstanding plays to take hits away.
Now, base hit here will put the Blue Jays back into this ball game. Gruber, the hitter, pitches high.
And a home run will certainly disturb the Orioles. An error by Cal Ripken on what looked like a double play ball allowed Liriano to reach base, and he's come around to score.
Hit down into the right field corner. Fernandez has got a chance to score all the way from first. They're going to wave him in. Here's the throw by Gonzalez. It's high. They nail him.
John McLaren tapped Tony Fernandez on the back and said, "It's my fault." McLaren was in between. Larry Barnett, the home plate umpire, made the right call in my mind. Fernandez was out. But John McLaren was in between whether to hold him or send him. Certainly now he wishes he would have held Fernandez, especially with Bell coming up. Bell was 2 for 2 on the night. But Orsulak plays it perfectly. Gets rid of it to the relay man, Gonzalez, who had gone out to the outfield. He even double clutched a little bit and still gets the throw to Melvin in time, who's up the line in good position and puts the tag on Fernandez.
Got him right on the knee.
But Johnny McLaren was in between. He had stopped him and then he waved him, and it was a little bit late. Fernandez is really in dangerous territory there, in between, sliding head first and feet first. Good play by the Orioles.
Jays score a pair. It's 6-3 now for Baltimore. You're watching Labatt's Blue Jays baseball on TSN. Fourth inning here at Memorial Stadium in Baltimore. 6-3, the Orioles leading as the Blue Jays come back with a pair. Frank Wills on the mound, and he'll be facing Cal Ripken Jr. That first pitch is a strike. So you look back to the fourth for the Blue Jays, and that could be a costly mistake, sending Tony Fernandez in.
Johnny McLaren was in between whether or not to send him, but looking back on it, I'm sure that he'd rather had Fernandez at third base with Bell hitting, who's already 2 for 2 on the night. But they've got a long ways to go, and they were back in it.
There's Johnny Mack. The 0-2 pitch, low and away to Cal Ripken Jr. He got on an error charge to Gruber in the first inning, and then he flied out to Bell and left in the second. 7 hits for the Blue Jays, 6 for the Baltimore Orioles. Ground ball, Gruber, couple of hops.
Gruber looks like he's more comfortable down there now after that first ground ball he got on the night. He booted. Takes this one, sizes up Ripken, and guns it across the infield. Well, Pendleton will turn around and bat from the left side for the first time tonight.
The energy wave from Converse. Cons give you the power of the wave.
And don't forget to stay tuned at the end of the game for the TSN Turning Point, brought to you by Converse. A ball and a strike to Mickey Tettleton. A ground ball, but it's foul down the right side to Freddie McGriff. A ball and 2 strikes to Tettleton. He had a sacrifice fly RBI in the first, and he walked and scored in the third. Pretty good pitch, but it just misses on the inside. 2-2. Larry Barnett, the home plate umpire. Low, full count.
Veteran umpire Larry Barnett. He's the crew chief of this four-man crew.
Inside, he draws a walk.
Well, the Blue Jays so far are pitching Tettleton like he's Babe Ruth. He's off to a good start. He's a dangerous hitter, but I wouldn't walk him like that. I'm sure the Jays aren't trying to walk him, but I think they're just being a little too fine.
Well, that's 5 walks issued. 4 by Flanagan, 1 by Wills here in the 4th inning. Randy Milligan, look at the night he has had. For a strike. Milligan last year split the season between the Pirates and Buffalo. Hit .276 in AAA in 63 games, a couple of homers, and .220 for the Pirates in 40 games. Then he went down and played winter ball in Puerto Rico.
Well, they were trying to come up with a guy who could DH for him and play a little first base. They brought Bob Horner to spring training. He couldn't do it any longer. He eventually retired. Now Milligan splits the first base duties with Jim Traber. And this whole team has really come together. Frank Robinson utilizing everybody on the roster, making everybody feel a part of this.
There's one big name in the lineup, and that's Cal Ripken Jr.
If you're going to have veterans on your ball club, you couldn't have 2 better veterans than Cal Ripken Jr. and Phil Bradley in the outfield. They're both very sound, fundamental baseball players. They play hard every day. They don't say a word. They're great leaders, great citizens. You couldn't ask for a couple of better people to have on your club.
A ground ball. Fernandez will have to backhand it. The flip over to first. They call him safe. They say that McGriff pulled his foot. Dale Ford, the first base umpire.
And he's right. That throw pulled McGriff off the bag. Dale Ford had a real good look at it. Fernandez going deep in the hole. Knows he has to get rid of it quickly. Doesn't have a lot on it. Big looping throw. Now watch McGriff's foot. He catches the ball, and when he does, it pulls him off the bag. Good call by Dale Ford at first base. The only way Fernandez can get Milligan is to get rid of it quickly. But Milligan moves down the line. If McGriff stays on the bag, he might have him out. There's a good shot of it right there. Ford on top of it the whole way.
So with 1 down, Wills and the Blue Jays are in trouble. Bob Melvin, the hitter. He's 0 for 2. A strike.
Milligan, I'm sure, was credited with a hit.
He was.
3 for 3 for the first baseman.
Ground ball, Gruber. He'll go to Liriano for 1. He's pulled out the bag. Oh, no.
Well, the wheels have come off defensively for the Blue Jays tonight. Gruber fires this bag on the outside of second base. Liriano might have been a little bit late getting to the bag. He kind of gets there on the run, but the throw pulls him off the bag. Milligan slides to break it up. If Liriano turns around, he can tag him. But watch the throw from Gruber. It's down and away from the bag. Liriano has to stretch for it. Looking at it from that angle, Liriano was there in plenty of time. It was just a terrible throw by Gruber.
Will be charged with an error here.
Across his body, pulls Liriano off the bag.
So, the bases are loaded. And for Gruber, that's his second error of the ball game. Craig Worthington, who singled and walked. A strike.
With all the mistakes the Blue Jays have made in this inning, a ground ball could still get him out of the inning without allowing a run. Frank Wills can throw some ground balls with that sinker ball. Worthington cannot run, so he's a great guy to have up here in this situation.
A ball and a strike.
Frank Wills needs to throw that sinker ball.
Worthington extended his hitting streak to 11 games in the first inning with a single. So he's been hot lately. The 1-1 pitch is low. The Baltimore Orioles, a team that has been in first place since May the 26th. That's popped up, but it should go out of play. It does.
This could be a real key situation for Frank Wills and the Blue Jays in this entire game right here. If Wells can get out of this inning without allowing any runs with bases loaded and only one out, the way the defense has got him in this jam, it'll be a big boost for their chances to win this thing. Worthington batting .333 with runners in scoring position. He's been tough in the clutch.
Inside, full count.
This really throws everything in the favor of the batter. Full count, bases loaded. You know what you're going to get. He can sit all over this fastball.
Chop foul. You know, you look at this Oriole lineup, and Worthington, the guy hitting .224, all of a sudden he looks like Babe Ruth at the plate. They've all become tough outs.
Well, you know, that's a confidence thing. They know this is a big series. They're coming off 3 losses in California. Back home against an Eastern Division rival as the Blue Jays are starting to creep up into the race.
How do you figure it out? The Blue Jays go into Anaheim and they win 3.
We saw the 3 pitchers that the Blue Jays beat when they were struggling. They went in there, McCaskill, Witt, and Finley had a career series.
Strikes him out, and Witt dropped the ball. He fouled it.
I don't think Ernie ever had a glove on it. It looked like he never really fouled it, but he just tipped it enough to beat it into the ground, and I don't think Witt ever laid a glove on it. I think it catches him off the shin guard. Just fouled it down into the dirt.
The catchers sure stick together.
He didn't come close to dropping it.
You're right.
We have to practice those spring training all the time. Catching foul tips. It's hard work.
Look out, a rope into the left field corner. Off the wall. One comes in. Another run comes in. It is 8-2, 8-3 Baltimore.
Craig Worthington continues to swing the bat well with runners on base. A one-out double on a 3-2 pitch from Frank Wills. Pretty good sinking action, but he didn't get it in far enough as Worthington hooks it down into the corner. And Bell plays the carom, but 2 more Oriole runs come across the plate. Worthington perfect on a night, 2 hits and a walk. And now they're going to put Joe Orsulak on base with first base open.
And pitch to the number 9 hitter in the lineup, Rennie Gonzalez. All these Oriole fans sure have a lot to cheer about here tonight. 5 runs up on the Blue Jays. And we're just in the 4th inning.
Well, it's been a long time since Frank Robinson and the Orioles had enjoyed a winning season.
You felt sorry for them last year during that 21-game losing
And no
streak.
one expected him to come back as quickly as they had. Gaston and Widmar discussing it, but Robinson is going to make a managerial change.
Larry Sheets.
A batting change, they say.
Sheets hit a couple of home runs in Anaheim on Sunday. Dwayne Bice is up and throwing in the Blue Jay bullpen. He had a pretty good outing in his last outing out in Oakland. Al Widmar will come out and stall for a little time for the Blue Jays.
He's stalling right now. That slow walk out to the mound. But there's no reason for the Jays to panic in this situation. They can still come back and win this thing.
Don't forget the Boston Red Sox are coming to town Friday, June 30th, 7:35, and we'll be televising the first game. It's Friday night right here on TSN. So make sure you join us if you can't make it to the Sky Dome. The Red Sox are 3 games under 500. And they're 6.5 back. Just a half game behind Toronto. So Widmar is finished with Frank Wills, and he will walk slowly back to the dugout. And Larry Sheets, who was the Orioles' most valuable player a couple of years ago, his average and home run production really fell off last year.
Sheets hit 31 homers in '87, batted .316, but then '88 was a disaster. Fell off with 10 homers. This year he's swinging the bat a little better. He's got 6 home runs and 21 RBIs. Fastball hitter likes the ball down out over the plate. And that matchup favors the Orioles in this situation because Wills is a sinker ball pitcher. He throws a lot of low fastballs.
Just 1 down. Melvin at 3rd, Worthington at 2nd. 2 runs already in. He bounces that, and here comes Melvin to score. 9-3.
This looks like a different ball club than the one we saw out in California. Ernie Witt, terrible position. Never got squared up to it. Just kind of hoped that it hit in his glove. He didn't get squared up to block the ball. He'd like to have that one back.
So Wills will be credited with a wild pitch. Over by the Blue Jay dugout. So it's 1-1. Worthington is down at 3rd. 3 runs in, 9-3. Baltimore leading. That's fouled back out of play. Tomorrow night, John Cerruti at 3-3, and he's 4-1 lifetime against these Orioles. He'll go to the mound for Toronto, and really, he's been as consistent as anybody on that pitching staff, and probably the most consistent, although his record doesn't show it. He'll face Brian Holden, who's 2-5, and he's a guy who's struggling to stay in the starting rotation. Outside, 2-2 to Sheets.
There's still only 1 out in this inning. The Blue Jays infield has to come in. Trying to cut off the runner at the plate. Runners at 2nd and 3rd.
A ground ball. Liriano's in. He checks the runner, flips it to McGriff for the 2nd out.
Center fielder,
By the way, President George Bush and his 10-year-old grandson, George P. Bush, will be attending tomorrow's game as the guests of Ellie Jacobs, the principal shareholder of the Orioles. Now, this will be the first time that the president has attended a game here that wasn't a season opener or postseason game. And apparently he announced that this afternoon. He let it slip that he was coming to the game tomorrow. And his bodyguards, they were here today and checking out Memorial Stadium. And
Wills is up a bit more than he should be. He got that slider up high out of the strike zone. He's behind Devereaux. Again, 2 balls, no strikes. That's been pretty much the pattern that Mike Flanagan established early on for the Blue Jays tonight.
Three and 0. After Devereaux, you've got Phil Bradley again. This doesn't get any easier. There's a strike. 3 and 1. Full count. So Wills has battled back nicely.
I'm afraid he's not out of the woods yet. He's got to get a pretty good hitter in Devereaux. 3-2 count.
Ground ball. Liriano should make the play to McGriff for the 3rd out. So the Baltimore Orioles score 3 runs on a couple of hits and a couple of walks and a wild pitch and take a 9-3 lead. You're watching Labatt's Blue Jays baseball on TSN. A 9-3 ball game. The Orioles lead it as we go to the 5th inning here at Memorial Stadium. Don't forget Roland Heeman, who is the Vice President General Manager of the Baltimore Orioles, will be our guest on Extra Innings. There's the number to call, 445-1811, and we'll find out about the wheeling and dealing that he has done.
Well, he made some bold moves. Traded Eddie Murray out to San Francisco, moved Mike Boddicker last year to Boston. That's Roland right there. White shirt and the tie, general manager. I mentioned it earlier. He was the executive of the year back in '83 when he led the White Sox to that American League West title. But he made some bold moves, put himself on the line, and he's turning around quickly.
Billy Ripken Jr. now has come in to play second base.
Sheets pinch hitting for Gonzalez, and Ripken takes his position defensively at second.
That first pitch high and inside to George Bell. Ground ball up the middle. Ripken playing nicely. Gets him.
Billy Ripken was sitting on the bench the last time Bell was up and saw a ground ball go almost in the same spot that Gonzalez didn't get to. So this time Ripken moves to his right about 4 steps, and he's there on the left side of second base to take a hit away from George Bell. You got to give him a lot of credit. He could have been upstairs in the clubhouse not paying attention, but he was on the bench. He saw Bell hit that base hit up the middle and made an adjustment when he took the position up defensively.
Now Fred McGriff takes one high and away. Well, that's heads-up baseball. Ground ball down to Billy Ripken. 2 down. So you sit around for the first 4 innings. You come out and look right at home.
There is no way you can relax if you're Billy Ripken on this team. Your dad's the third base coach. He's sitting on the bench. He's keeping an eye on you. Your big brother's the shortstop, but he's keeping an eye on you. Things are rough around here for Billy Ripken. I tell you, when you have 3 Ripkins like this, you'd like to go out and sign 4 or 5 more of them.
He's a good one defensively. His only weakness is at the plate, but that'll come. It should. Mosby swings through that first pitch with 2 down here in the 5th inning. Well, tomorrow night's another night for the Blue Jays. I guess their aim coming in here, naturally you want to win all 3, but the next best thing is to win 2 out of 3 as Mosby hits that down to Milligan. He bobbles it. Mosby is called out by Dale Ford. Cito Gaston's out of the dugout. It looked like he had beat it out.
I don't know that Ford got a good look at it. What's Ford's positioning? He's directly behind the pitcher. Milligan hustling to get it. I don't know how Tibbs even caught it, but yes, sir, it looked like he was out.
Yeah, he made the right call.
Get a better angle here. Milligan really hustling out. The first basemen have only made 1 error all year. Those umpires are amazing, aren't they?
Yeah.
They have the benefit of the sound of the ball hitting the glove and watching Mosby's foot hit the bag at the same time. Tibbs makes a great catch on a tough throw.
No doubt about it. Good call by Dale Ford. 9-3, Orioles leading. You're watching Labatt's Blue Jays baseball on TSN. 9-3 ball game. Orioles leading the Blue Jays. Bottom of the 5th inning. Phil Bradley will lead it off for Baltimore. Frank Wills still in the ball game. Mike Flanagan started, went 2 2/3, gave up 6 runs, 3 of them earned, 5 hits, didn't strike anybody out, walked 4, and then a wild pitch. As a matter of fact, he threw right behind this hitter here, Phil Bradley. One and 1 the count to Bradley. Wills came on in the 3rd inning with the bases loaded, and he struck Bradley out.
You got to go back to that 4th inning when Fernandez was thrown out at the plate for the 3rd out of the inning, and Bell was the on-deck hitter. The Jays had already scored 2 runs. That could have been a big turning point.
Could have been.
Then the Orioles come back in the bottom of the inning and post up 3 more. Hey, this Oriole club has a lot of character. A lot of young players, but boy, they've come out to play hard.
Well, you keep waiting for the Orioles to collapse, but they don't.
The only thing that leads me to believe that they might continue this pace for a while is the fact that nobody's really over their heads. Tettleton's got 17 homers, but he's really not outrageous. It's not like he's hit 25 or so this first half of the year, but they're just playing good baseball.
He's close, though, to being outrageous. I mean, off his numbers from the past. I know we talked about it earlier.
But I don't think that they're in for a big nosedive. I'm not saying that they're going to hang on and win it for sure, but I think fundamentally they're very sound. 33 errors. They lead it by 5.5 over the Yankees.
Full count now to Bradley.
No matter what happens, it's a great story. Coming off of last year.
Well, nobody in the first month and a half had more publicity in the American League last year than Baltimore, but for the wrong reason. They lost 21 in a row. Outside as Wills tried to overthrow that one, and Bradley draws a walk. Six walks make that 7. 1 intentional walk issued by the Blue Jay pitchers in this game. And Ripken's probably the only guy in the lineup that doesn't have a base hit. No, Tettleton doesn't have one, and neither does Melvin. It's popped up, but it'll go out of play into the stands. Tettleton might as well have a base hit. He's had a couple of walks tonight and a sacrifice fly RBI. And as you said earlier, Buck, they're pitching to him like he was Babe Ruth.
Well, you hear so much about Tettleton when you're away from him. You haven't seen him. And actually, Mickey hasn't really done anything other than log some at-bats and maybe hit a few more pitches that he was missing in the past, simply because he has confidence now. He knows he's going to be in there every night, either as a DH or behind the plate. We talked about his work ethics. He hits off the tee every day. This is not a fluky ball club.
Orioles are 20-16 at home, 4 games over 500. As Wills jumps ahead, a ball and 2 strikes. And where they've had their most success this year is against the Western Division. They're 5 games over 500. And they're the only team playing better than 500 against the Western Division.
And they were 8 over before they went to Anaheim over the weekend. Well, they were playing a tune on the West until they ran into 3 hot pitchers. Finley struck out 15 Orioles on Saturday.
There goes Bradley, and that one's hit foul down the left side by Ripken.
Bradley's quite an offensive package. Very much like Ripken. They can do a lot of things for you. Bradley can run. He's got a good arm in the outfield, very aggressive. And we talked about it earlier. If you're going to have 2 veterans that you rely on, and he eats sunflower seeds. But if you're going to have 2 veterans to count on, man, you couldn't order them any better than Bradley and Ripken. They're both wonderful examples for the young players to look up to. As Fergie mentioned earlier, Bradley, a very diligent student of the opposition during batting practice. So if the young players see that, they say, hey, if it's good enough for Phil, it's good enough for me. Maybe I'll try it.
And how many players you see sit in the dugout, watch the opposing team take BP?
Some even during the game. Struck him out. He got Ripken on his weakness. The ball up and out over the plate.
That's the 2nd strikeout for Wills.
If you can get it up to Ripken, you've got a good chance to get him out. He runs that high fastball right around the letters and punches him out.
So the batter will be Mickey Tettleton. He'll turn around and hit from the left side. Tettleton in his 5th season.
He looked like he was going to emerge as an everyday player in Oakland as their catcher. That didn't pan out as Tony La Russa brought over Ron Hasse to bat from the left side. And then he got Terry Steinbach up from the minor leagues through the organization, and Tettleton was expendable. They just released him.
The only inning that's been an easy one tonight was the 2nd for the Blue Jays. With 2 down, Phil Bradley doubled. And then Flanagan got Ripken on a fly ball. Other than that, the Orioles scored 4 in the 1st, 2 in the 3rd, 3 more in the 4th. They've been doing a number on Blue Jay pitching.
The 8th walk of the night issued by the Blue Jays. That won't win you many ball games.
Now, do you leave a guy like Wills in, or do you use up your bullpen?
I think what they'd like to do, if they could, was leave Wills out there and let him get this thing worked out. He's had 3 bad outings in a row as a starter, and now he's not throwing the ball effectively as a reliever, so maybe they can leave him out there and get it back together. They've got Bice throwing, but I don't know that they want to make a move. I think they're going to try to let Frank Wills work his way out of this and get back on the track that we saw him 3 starts ago.
Well, this guy at the plate, Randy Milligan, is 3 for 3. 2 doubles and a single, and has scored 3 times.
When they got Milligan, Tom McCraw, the batting instructor, was really pleased. He had seen him play in the minor leagues and felt that Milligan could be an RBI guy. He projected he'd drive in 70 runs. I think he's lowered the projections now that Milligan's in a platoon situation with Jim Traber.
Low and away, evens it up with a ball and a strike. The Yankees are leading Detroit 4-2 in the 5th inning in Detroit. Jones against Gibson. Boston leading Milwaukee 1-0 in the 3rd inning.
Milligan had an outstanding year in '87 at Tidewater for the Mets, where he hit .326, 29 homers and 103 RBIs, and his pattern as a minor league player has been every other year he would have a good year. So this year is his good year cycle.
2 balls and 2 strikes. Well, he now has reached first safely in 23 of his last 38 plate appearances. Either a hit or a walk. Pitch is high, full count. Bradley at second, Tattleton at first, 1 down here in the bottom of the 5th inning. Orioles leading 9-3. Just 8 base hits for Baltimore. The Blue Jay pitching has issued 8 walks, 1 intentional. There go the runners. Fly ball deep to left. Kiss that baby goodbye. .3, Baltimore leads.
Oriole magic is back and alive and well here in Baltimore. Randy Milligan is 4 for 4 with 1 out in the 5th. He's a triple away from the cycle, and he jumps all over this pitch from Frank Wills. 3-2 count. The runners were going. Now Bradley stops to see if this ball is going out of the park. Bell runs to the wall, and it's well out of the ballpark.
First pitch to Melvin, a strike in the outside part of the plate. Boy, this is a beating tonight so far.
Well, I think the Orioles are trying to send a message. Listen, fellas, we're for real.
Dwayne Bice is throwing under the watchful eye of John Sullivan out there. And he'll sure be looking forward to coming into this game.
Oh, yeah, he's thrilled about the prospects of coming into this game. Orioles got 12 runs, 9 hits.
Melvin goes down on strikes.
Are you sure you want me to go in there? Not too much to talk about there. Happy dugout there. Tom McCraw, the batting instructor, sitting on the top step of the dugout. He's pretty pleased with the way his troops are swinging the bats tonight.
You know, Frank Wills now has to be concerned about Syracuse. He's had 3 bad outings in a row, and he just can't seem to get it together. Cito on the phone.
He was throwing so well early in the year at Syracuse, and then upon the recall to Toronto, pitching in relief was practically unhittable. And now maybe he's thinking back, trying to preserve his job. We talked about in spring training how he really wasn't worried about making the team. He knew he couldn't make it, was very relaxed and threw very well. Now maybe that tension has caused him to try to muscle the ball, flatten out that sinker ball. He's been hit pretty hard last 2 times we've seen him.
3-1 the count.
The start in Oakland, 2/3 of an inning. He allowed 6 runs.
Ball 4 to Worthington, and I would think that would be it for Frank Wills. Maybe not.
Bice has got to be ready. There's the sign. That means that he's ready down here. The bullpen coach taking off the hat. We're ready here. Joe Orsolak, 0 for 1 tonight. Sacrifice fly and a walk.
Ground ball, base hit. Felix, the throw to third. They very close on Worthington, but he's safe.
So Orsolak joins the hit parade. His first hit of the night. Hit a pretty good pitch, a sinking ball on the outside part of the plate. But Worthington goes all the way to third base. Felix's throw is a little bit up the line, away from the bag.
And here comes Cito. In this 12-3 ball game. 2 down here in the 5th inning. 3 runs already in. A 3-run homer by Randy Milligan.
There's not a whole lot to talk about out there right now. Not much you can say in a situation like this. Wills' control has caused him problems, and when he gets it over the plate, the Orioles have hit him pretty hard.
Well, it all started with Mike Flanagan tonight, as he gave up 6 runs, 3 of them earned. And now Frank Wills gets tattooed for another 6 runs. This pitching change is brought to you by Duracell. So right-hander Dwayne Bice comes on to pitch for the Blue Jays with 2 down. Bice got his first major league win in the Blue Jays' 10-8 victory in Oakland the other night. He's made 5 appearances for the club. There's his record, 1-0, his earned run average. 13 2/3, 12 hits, 7 walks, 7 strikeouts. But a very dejected Frank Wills tonight.
5 walks on the heels of a start where he only went 2/3 of an inning in Oakland, giving up 6 earned runs on 4 hits and 3 more walks. So the control problem and the walks have really killed Frank Wills lately.
Well, this is a game that you want to forget about and regroup and just get through it safe and sound and come back and win a pair.
These are the kind of games you got to laugh at. You say, well, at least nobody got hit by a line drive.
Not yet.
Get them tomorrow. That's where they play 162 of them. But they've got to come back with a good effort tomorrow. We're not conceding yet, folks, but 9 runs is kind of tough.
By the way, John Cerruti will go against Brian Holton tomorrow night, and then Thursday night Dave Stieb will face the right-hander Dave Schmidt. Schmidt 7-6 this season. So at the third base corner, Craig Worthington, and over at first, Orsolak. ground ball down to Kelly Gruber. It's a fair ball. He bobbles it. His third error of the night.
The Gremlins are here tonight. Somebody put a hex on these guys. The defense has been phenomenal on the first part of this road trip. Out west, they could do no wrong defensively. Right there, Gruber had a routine ball. When he went to grab it, it was up in the air. 3 errors for the third baseman.
14 on the season. McGriff over on the first base side has got 13. They'll be catching Baltimore, just the two of them. Got 27 between them. Baltimore as a team only has 6 more. And 1 more tonight and make it 7. Devereaux, the leadoff hitter. Bice ahead 0-2. So Worthington comes in to score, and it is now 13-3. It's funny, I was talking to Roland Heeman before the game and asked him about coming on extra innings, and he said, boy, I sure hope I'm not unhappy. In other words, I hope I'm not coming on after a loss.
There's Roland on the left.
Yeah, he won't have to worry about that. Sure doesn't look like it. 13-3.
Very interesting man. Stay tuned and listen to how he turned this organization around in 1 short year.
Another ground ball to Gruber, but this one's foul.
Roland Heeman made all those deals, trading Eddie Murray, Mike Boddicker, Mike Morgan, acquiring Devereaux right here from the Dodgers. Some pretty gutsy trades he made for some relatively unproven ball players.
Ground ball, Fernandez. He'll go across the diamond, and he just gets Devereaux. Devereaux holds a few sprint records in the state of Wyoming that still stand. So he can really motor down that first base side. 13-3. You're watching Labatt's Blue Jays baseball on TSN. Now, 13-3. The Orioles really putting it to the Blue Jays tonight. 6th inning in Baltimore.
Well, the Blue Jays had to get 10 runs down so they could mount a comeback. We've seen them come back from 10 runs before in Boston. Be a perfect night for that.
What about that Pittsburgh announcer who said that if they did something, he'd walk 300 or 400 miles? Who was that?
No, that's my buddy Jim Rooker. He said, if they win this one, I'll walk back to Philly.
Was it 300 miles? Or?
Yeah. So now he's taking up a charity event, and he's going to walk back at the end of the season.
So have you got any promises you want to pass on tonight? If the Blue Jays come back in this one?
I would love to see them come back. And
but
I'll walk to Mississauga.
Yeah, right.
We know they can do it. They've done it before.
Ernie Witt hit into a fielder's choice in the second and came around to score, and then popped up in the fourth. Boy, Tibbs has had some long stays on the bench tonight, hasn't he?
Perfect night for it.
Yeah.
It's 90 degrees when the game started. Very humid. He's still got good velocity. Melvin says, come on, throw the ball over the plate. You got a 10-run lead.
A little tough on those catchers in this searing heat.
Get you in shape in 9 innings.
Witt reaches and hits it into right field for a base hit. Well, that one was out of the strike zone, too, and he really tomahawked it, didn't he?
Well, he had to make sure he hit this one after he went after that last one and didn't get on top of it. But, man, he tomahawked that fastball. If you're going to swing at that pitch, you better get base hits on it.
Well, Rance Mullenix is 2 for 2 tonight. Fernandez is 2 for 3, and George Bell has a couple of hits. That's really been the Blue Jays offense. A little low. The Orioles are 7-1 in games that they've played against former Orioles who pitched against them. Tonight here against Flanagan, they could stretch that to 8-1, but they beat Storm Davis, they beat Boddicker, Niedenfuhr, Stoddard. That's just this year. Fly ball, center field. Devereaux, he goes back, and he's there to make the catch.
There was a time not too long ago that fly balls to the outfield were an adventure. That's not the case any longer, as Bradley, Devereaux, and Orsulak can all go get it. There's the two other outfielders, Steve Finley and Brady Anderson, who are not playing tonight, who can also play defense. But when they had Larry Sheets in the outfield had to cheat over and cover up for his defensive liabilities. Now everybody's on their own out there, and they can all play it.
Now Liriano pops it up to Worthington, the third baseman. 2 down. Don't forget to join us Thursday night for the final game of this series. Steve against Dave Schmidt. Some out-of-town scores. Detroit have come back to tie it up against the Yankees at 4 with 2 in the bottom of the 5th. California and Cleveland deadlocked at 1. Blyleven against Bud Black in that one. And Oakland leading Minnesota 4-3. The Twins won that one last night. Texas a 4-0 lead, and Milwaukee leading Boston 3-1. It's August against Roger Clemens in that one. Junior Felix, sacrifice fly, flying out, walked and scored a run.
Tibbs just can't get in a groove. He'll throw one strike and then lose that fastball up and away. But he hasn't been real sharp himself tonight. But he has the 10-run cushion, so it doesn't really make any difference as long as he doesn't really lose it. He's been the Orioles' best starter. 3-0 in his last 3 starts. 1.71 ERA over that span.
Fouls off another one. You know, I look at the Orioles' record of 41 wins, 31 losses, and that's the best at this point in the season since '79. And you go back to '79, and that's the year that Mike Flanagan won the Cy Young Award for the Orioles, and he was 23-9.
And they really got hot the second half, too.
Yeah.
They lost to the Pirates in the World Series.
Felix goes down and strikes for the 3rd out. 13-3, Baltimore leading. You're watching Labatt's Blue Jays baseball on TSN. A 13-3 ball game. The Orioles leading the Blue Jays. Game 1 of this 3-game series, as the Blue Jays came to town today with a lot of expectations in this series. But right now, they're behind the 8 ball. Bradley, Ripken, and Tettleton will face the right-hander Dwayne Bice.
Every once in a while, you just got to go up there and say, hey, we need to forget about this game. The Labatt's player of the game for Baltimore will receive something new under the sun. Canon's new Prima Shot, the world's first automatic camera with detachable infrared remote control. Compact with the latest technology and the remarkable removable remote control.
Well, Brady Anderson will come in and see some action now tonight with the Orioles leading by 10 runs. Brady Anderson has been out of action himself for a while. He's missed the last 9 games. He's had some back problems and an ingrown toenail. But he's a young outfielder that the Orioles got in the deal with Boston for Mike Boddicker. Kurt Schilling, a pitcher who's down in Rochester, also came with Anderson in that same deal.
Frank Robinson believes this guy is a spark plug. He'd like to have him back in the lineup, but he's been hampered by some back problems. You look at his average at .215 and say, well, he can't be doing that much for the club, but he's got a good on-base percentage, and he runs. He's got 15 stolen bases, leads the ball club, and when Anderson's in the game, he makes things happen.
3 balls and no strikes. Bice on the mound for Toronto. And a reliever, believe me, hates to come into a ball game when you're down by 10 runs.
You have to really reach inside and motivate yourself and say, listen, I'm out here. Keep it right where it's at. I know it's kind of a hopeless situation, but you got to make sure that you don't get in a bad groove, throw some bad pitches, and walk people just like that.
Well, the best motivation to me is a town in New York called Syracuse. Steve Cummings, who was called up from Syracuse, and as Kevin Batiste was sent down, and you all know about that incident, but Cummings pitched a couple of innings against Oakland the other day. Looked great in the first inning, but couldn't throw strikes in the second inning. Cal Ripken Jr. still does not have a hit in this game. He got on an error, a hard hit ball to Kelly Gruber, and that was the first of 3 errors for Gruber. Then he flied out to Bell in left, grounded out to Gruber in the 4th, and struck out in the 5th. Now Bice can't throw strikes.
It's the mound. Maybe it's the mound, Ferg. Blue Jays aren't comfortable on the mound. No, it's just one of those nights. They're just simply wild all over the place. Bice misses inside. You just can't explain these types of things. We saw the ball club play so well. Flanagan, his last time out, was nearly perfect. 8 shutout innings, allowed just 4 hits, didn't walk a batter.
I can't remember the last time the Blue Jays were blown out of a ball game.
Probably would have been that game in Fenway, except they came back.
Yeah, you're right. Guess I've got a short memory.
This is the time you just sit back and let things kind of take care of themselves.
That's 10 walks now that Blue Jay, make that 11 that Blue Jay pitchers have issued. Flanagan 4, Wills 5, and now Bice a couple. Five of them have come in to score. High fly ball, right field. Felix back. It's out of here. Kiss it goodbye. A 3-run shot. 16-3. Number 18 for Tattleton.
The Fruit Loop Kid comes through with number 18. A 3-run shot, his first hit of the night. And there was no doubt about this one. He was up there cherry picking. In this situation, all you try to do is improve your numbers. Watch him turn on this ball right down Broadway. Picture-perfect swing. Felix is just out for a sonder back to the fence. He's not even close as it gets back into the seats.
Now, Randy Milligan.
Doesn't get any easier. Milligan's 4 for 4.
With a 3-run homer. Now he wants to look at the ball.
Now he wants to move the rosin bag.
Oh, okay.
On his sock is out. Everything's going wrong here. Vice's stirrup slipped out of his shoe. I don't know what Milligan was concentrating on if he saw that. They say look over a pitcher's shoulder for the release point. Pendleton closed the gap on Deere by 1 tonight. Fruit Loops. I got to get me some of those Fruit Loops. I wonder if it'll help a golf swing.
Yeah, maybe with those Fruit Loops you could make a comeback.
I'm so far gone you can't get back from here.
There's one hit to left by Milligan. Bell back. He jumps. I think he's got it. Has he got it? By golly, he got it. Way to go, George Bell.
Salvaged a little bit of pride. This one was gone as well. Look at that swing by Milligan. Bell times it perfectly. Goes back to the wall and times his jump. Reaches over. That's well over the fence. Nice play, George.
Way to go, George. He's looking a little like Devon White.
Way up over the fence. That just saved Vice a little more pain and anguish.
And a 5 for 5 night for Milligan. Bob Melvin. Down to McGrath. I don't believe what I'm seeing here tonight.
Let's go back to California.
Let's go back and start again. Let's get back on the plane, fly in here. Forget this game never happened tonight.
Some of these guys stop somewhere differently. Look at this. Right there, right in front of you. He can't believe it's gone.
That's an error. So McGriff, that's number 14. Gruber has 14 errors. Oh, and Freddie McGriff last year led all American League first basemen in fielding. Only made something like 6 errors all season long. And he's already got 14. And here we are, the 75th game of the season.
Two for 2. There aren't a whole lot of guys that made outs in this lineup.
I'll tell you what, Cal Ripken Jr. does not have a hit. Neither does Bob Melvin.
Ripken scored twice.
Now that doesn't count though. At Fernandez to Liriano, they get a double play. 16-3. The Orioles are doing a number. You're watching Labatt's Blue Jays baseball on TSN. This was definitely a highlight. This catch by George Bell out in left field. Off the bat of Randy Milligan. That might be the best catch he's ever made in a Blue Jay uniform.
In any uniform. I don't think he's ever made a catch close to this. Look at his concentration. Sizes up the wall. Gets right to the wall as far as he can go and then jumps. Look how high he jumps. He gets up on his armpit in the fence.
Even when you're 13 runs down, you can still find something positive to talk about in a baseball game.
That's just saving face for the ball club. He didn't want that second home run for Milligan to go out of the ballpark.
Tony Fernandez at the plate. Tony's 2 for 3 tonight. Tibbs still on the mound. Ground ball at Billy Ripken.
Well, the thing about this lead for the Orioles, the track record indicates they won't give it away. They don't make any mistakes. Don't make any errors.
Well, if you're a Blue Jay fan, you know they can bounce right back. And make sure you join us on Thursday night, the final game of this 3-game series. That's hit by Gruber out to left field. And Devereaux is out there now. Moved over from center with Brady Anderson going into center. Don't forget the Orioles will be in Toronto for a 3-game series. This is just the first of 6 that these two teams will play before the All-Star break. So all the Jays have to do now is go 5-1. Right?
Nothing to it. Tell you one thing, there's a good chance the Orioles have scored all their runs tonight. They won't have any left Tuesday and Wednesday. Wednesday and Thursday.
Bell hits a rope into left field for a base hit.
Three for 4 for George Bell. 3 singles, but all sharply hit. This ball on the inside part of the plate. He turns on it. He had a hit to right, a hit to left, and a hit to center. But he's hit them all well. It's a good sign. Maybe he's starting to feel real comfortable at the plate. Get on one of those torrid spells we saw in '87.
I might have put the kiss of death on McGriff back in the first inning when I said I thought he'd have a good series. He's 0 for 3 tonight. McGriff hit 4 home runs off Baltimore pitching last year. Hit over 300. Ground ball. Milligan will flip it to Tibbs for the out on McGriff. So Bell is left stranded, and we head to the bottom of the 7th. 16-3. Baltimore leading. You're watching Labatt's Blue Jays baseball on TSN. 16-3. Baltimore leading. 7th inning here at Memorial Stadium, as the Orioles have tattooed Blue Jay pitching to the tune of 11 hits, 11 walks, a 3-run homer in the 6th inning by Mickey Tettleton, a 3-run homer in the 5th inning by Randy Milligan. Flanagan started, went 2 2/3, and then Frank Wills came in, pitched a couple of innings, and he gave up 6 runs. Kelly Gruber has made 3 errors down there at third base, and Freddie McGriff has an error. 4 errors for the Blue Jays, and Cal Ripken Jr. has made 1 for the Orioles. Orsolak, the hitter. 1 for 2 tonight.
(3-0). Once again, Blue Jay pitchers struggling with their control, falling behind. Vice in danger of walking. The 12th batter, and there it is. 12 walks tonight.
That didn't look like a bad pitch, did it?
At this point, you're not going to get a whole lot of favorable calls when you've walked 12 batters. That's the 3rd walk given up by Bice. He came in with 2 outs in the 5th inning.
Don't forget, Roland Heeman, the general manager of this Oriole club, will be our guest on Extra Innings tonight. Blue Jays will drop 7 behind Baltimore now. And they will go to 5-3 on this road trip.
Well, after the fast start they had in California, you'd hate to think about them ending up 500 on this trip. But now they've really got to cinch up their belts and play tough the next 2 games of this 3-game series before they go back home Friday night to open up against the Red Sox. Billy Ripken came on as a defensive replacement. Larry Sheets pinch hit for Rene Gonzalez, who started at second. Ripken got a bit of a stomach virus out in California. Missed Sunday's game. Had a day off yesterday, but Frank Robinson wanted to give him an extra day so he'd get a little stronger.
You know, you go back to the 3rd inning, and the Blue Jays were trailing 6-1 before Cito went to the bullpen to get Frank Wills and take Flanagan out of the game. What do you think of that story?
Getting worse every day, isn't it?
Sure is.
Yeah, the investigative report is public property.
Could be 2. Hernandez will do it himself, and it is a double play. The second one turned in by the Blue Jays tonight.
Taylor made double play, takes Fernandez right to the bag. He steps with the off foot, throws off balance, but has enough on the throw to get Billy Ripken. But the defense has been a very sore spot for the Blue Jays tonight. 4 errors. And then 12 walks allowed by the pitchers. That figures out to be some long innings.
I had 11. Have you got 12?
Flanagan walked 4, Wills walked 5, and Bice has walked 3.
That's right. Here in the 7th inning, or select. That was number 12. You get past 7, I can't count. Bice gets a strikeout. 16-3 ball game through 7 innings here in Baltimore. You're watching Labatt's Blue Jays baseball on TSN. Well, it's one of those stinkers for the Blue Jays. 16-3, Baltimore leading. It's one they will forget about. Believe me, about 5 minutes after this one's over with tonight. Regroup for tomorrow and get down to the ballpark ready for game 2 of this series. Mosby, Witt, and Mullenix. Mosby fouls that one off. Notice how they're going after that first pitch.
Trying to put an end to this thing. There's not a whole lot you can do about a situation like this. When you walk 12 people, make 4 errors in the field, you're going to lose games. But we have seen outstanding defense on this road trip, and it's really a surprise to see them play so poorly tonight. Tibbs has thrown that pitch all night long. That fastball he tries to muscle up on gets away from him, up and away from the left-handed batters. He might be running out of gas himself. He's thrown a lot of pitches. He's allowed 9 hits. And everything up in the strike zone like that indicates to me that he's a little bit out of gas. Can't really follow through. Doesn't drive through his pitching motion. Got that one back down.
Well, why use up your bullpen? You've got 2 more important games coming up. And the bullpen took a beating out on that West Coast tour for Baltimore.
They sure have, but Tibbs has been their most consistent starter.
You talk about a bunch of relaxed guys tonight. Mosby reaches for that one out of the strike zone. Little pop-up. Out into right field. Orslek.
You know, their starters have been really bounced around lately. Bob Malachy, his last 2 starts, 1 and 2.
What about Ballard?
Ballard has been hammered since he got hit in the chest by that line drive from Pete Incaviglia. Batista, he was sent down and then recalled when Mickey Weston went on the DL with a sore arm. Batista's been hammered. He got hit hard Saturday in Anaheim. 3 home runs in that game. So they're a little bit beaten up right now.
Chili Davis has homered for California, and they're tied with Cleveland in the 7th at 1. Henneman has gone in for Swaby, and Eric Plunk for Jones in that New York-Detroit game where they're tied at 4. And they're also in the 7th inning. Plunk, of course, came over in that Ricky Henderson deal. Witt hits that into foul territory, middle deck.
This will probably be Ernie Witt's last at bat. I would imagine they'll make a defensive move and put Borders in the game. Give Witt a chance to regroup a little bit and get ready for tomorrow's game.
Don't forget Roland Heeman, the Vice President General Manager. There he is right there of the Baltimore Orioles, the man that has done a magnificent job in rebuilding this team in quick-like fashion, will be our guest in Extra Innings. There's the number to call, 416 area code 445-1811. Now New York has gone ahead 5-4. And that's in the 8th inning. Steve Sachs is 5 for 5 with a home run in that ball game for the Yankees. As Witt hits it down to Milligan, he'll flip it to the pitcher, Jay Tibbs. 2 down.
This whole Baltimore Orioles story, you have to look to Roland Heeman, the GM that we've talked about, Frank Robinson, the commitment the organization has made. They made some very controversial trades, shipping Eddie Murray out of here. Mike Boddicker, the ace of their staff, traded away proven major league players, probably on the downside of their career, but made a commitment to youth. Certainly paid big dividends so far. Paid phenomenal financial dividends. Salary-wise, the Orioles' salary is just over $7 million.
What's the Blue Jays, 16?
About 16. Half the Orioles are making less than $100,000. So in that regard,
maybe that's sending a message to the rest of the league.
Doesn't work every time.
No.
We saw the Blue Jays try to do it a couple of years ago with Camposano and Ducey.
I can't see it holding up this year. I really can't see the Orioles holding up, but time will tell. 2-1 to Mullenix. Rance tonight, a couple of hits, 2 for 3. Both singles. Line drives to right field.
That was a 13-run ball game call right there, Larry Barnett. Oh, fastball down and away. Mullenix can't say a whole lot about it. You just step back in the box and say, hey, I can understand. 16-3 in the 8th inning with 2 outs and nobody on. It was close enough.
You know, a question we have to ask, are the Blue Jays showcasing Lloyd Mosby? Mullenix hits a line drive to center field. Brady Anderson, he can go get him. He can't get that one. Mullenix will have a triple. Rance hit that to the deepest part of the ballpark.
You're going to have to hit one right on the nose and on the line to get it over these outfielders' heads. Anderson can go get him, as Fergie mentioned, and Mullenix hammers it to center. Anderson off and took a dead bead run towards center field. Watch him run into the wall. He didn't give an inch. He just ran out of room. Now he chases the ball that caroms into left center, and Mullenix chugs around to third base with a triple. France is 3 for 4 tonight.
Watch
Look at the concentration here. Right up against the wall.
Liriano lays down a bunt and slides at first, and he's out. So Mullenix is stranded down at third, and we are heading to the bottom of the 8th inning. The Orioles lead by 13. You're watching Labatt's Blue Jays baseball on TSN. Don't forget to join us Thursday night. Buck Martinez and I will be here for the final game of this 3-game series, along with our producer Tom McKee and Michael Lansbury and John Pickett, our stats man. Anderson, Ripken, and Tettleton, with Pat Borders in to catch now here in the bottom of the 8th inning. 16-3 ball game. The Orioles leading. Now, ever since the Orioles took over first place, which was back May the 26th, this is a series that we've all waited for, because you could feel in the air that, hey, listen, we'll get to Baltimore and we'll show these guys that they're not for real.
Who's showing who?
Yeah.
You know, I talked about it all night long. Just the way that they've played, they really have been sound fundamentally. Nothing dramatic. Ballard at 9-2 at one point. It was 9-3, but nobody's really over their heads. Nobody's really playing above their skill level. They're just all playing as a team, doing the little things, bunting. This club has never been a club to bunt, and they're doing that this year. Aggressive on the bases. And the feeling is that the outfield defense, at least once a game, will make a diving or sliding catch.
Foul ball off the bat of Brady Anderson. So far, Bice has pitched 2 1/3 innings. He's given up 3 walks and just 1 hit. That hit happened to be a 3-run homer by Mickey Tettleton.
After he walked the first 2 guys he faced.
Oh, well, there's always tomorrow. Anderson draws a walk. That'll bring up Cal Ripken Jr., who is still looking for his first hit.
4 innings in a row. The Blue Jays have walked the leadoff batter. And they've all scored.
That's the 13th walk given up by Blue Jay pitching. Four for Flanagan, 5 for Wills, and 4 here for Bice. 30,136 fans here tonight. That means their home attendance so far, 977,283. That means they will go over the million mark tomorrow night in game 2 of this series. They've had lots to cheer about tonight, and half of them have gone home already.
This has never been a real big drawing ball club, even in the heyday, kind of like the Oakland A's back in the 70s. They never really packed the place all the time. But they've certainly got behind this young ball club. You know, it goes back to last year when they were 0-21 to start the season. It was kind of a folksy
gathering point. They all came out and started watching the O's last year. Wow.
So Ripken won't get a base hit after all. You're right, 14 walks. This has never happened in the history of the Blue Jay club.
And there's nothing you can do about it. Just sit back.
You know, it's such a laugher. Who could they go to other than Bice without going to the pitching staff?
Well, I pitched in a game like this once.
Yeah. When was that? How'd you do?
1978. Gave up a run. 9th inning. 1 run on 2 hits.
So you always remember those pitching lines.
I'd have been out of the inning if Salbando had turned a double play, though. I've got a 9 ERA. Tell you how much of a contribution Tettleton's long ball has been to the Orioles this year. They're 14-2 in games that he hits a homer in.
Make that 15-2 now.
3 walks, a 3-run homer. He scored 4 runs. And since he's the DH tonight, he can go out and sell programs in between innings. He's done everything.
Only 1 official at bat. A 3-run homer.
It's some kind of box score, isn't it? 1 at bat, 4 runs scored.
4 RBIs.
4 RBIs. 18th homer. And he had a pretty good night. The next guy had a pretty good night. Milligan, 4 for 5. 4 RBIs.
So
he
he's going to have another kick at the cat, though. Milligan is.
He scored 4 runs and driven in 4.
Look at the hits, though. Blue Jays 10, the Orioles 11. Just sandwiched in there 14 walks.
And the Blue Jays have stranded 9 base runners. They've had some on, too.
You get under that one. Hit it out to center field. Mosby hits Fernandez, the cutoff man. 1 down. Now Randy Milligan. Listen to the fans cheering for him.
First baseman, Randy Milligan.
He'll get a standing O, and he needs a triple for the cycle. Remember, George Bell robbed him of his 2nd home run of the night the last time up. The ball was clearly over the fence in left field. 4 for 5. 2 doubles, a single, a 3-run homer, looking for that triple. And he's swinging for it.
I tell you, the way to get the triple is just to hit a rope down in that left field corner and let it bounce around down in there.
Well, George has played that pretty well tonight.
Yeah, he has.
A couple caroms and that last catch. Cal Ripken, the last Oriole to hit for the cycle in '84 against Texas. And before him, a fellow named Brooks Robinson. Ripken did it with just 4 hits.
A ball and 2 strikes now to Milligan. He doubled in the 1st, scored, doubled in the 3rd and scored, singled and scored in the 4th, 3-run homer in the 5th, and then Bell robbed him of another home run in the 6th. Some kind of night. You know, you'd think with 16 runs scored in a ball game like this that somebody would get brushed back, or one Blue Jay pitcher get mad enough to stick one under somebody's chin.
I think they all felt they were throwing so poorly they didn't have the right to. When you walk this many guys and you're all over the place, then you got to look at that. I gotta say, might be a little time for a little address by the skipper.
By the skipper, yeah.
Hey, fellas, let's don't let this get away from us.
That's Borders behind the plate, by the way, not Ernie Witt.
We had a great road trip in California, but we got to keep it going here in Baltimore.
Bases are loaded. 3 more walks in this inning.
Second baseman, Bill Ripken.
Very unusual in a situation like this that the Ripkens don't have any hits. I figure that Cal's going to hold up his end of the deal anyway.
Swings through that pitch, and he goes down on strikes. So that means there's 2 down. The base is still loaded for Craig Worthington.
A high fastball gets Bob Melvin, and he is 0 for 6 tonight. Reached on a couple of errors. He scored a run. He hasn't had too much fun.
Even Rex Barney, the PA announcer here, is getting a little lost. He announced Bill Ripken is the last hitter. There's a strike. Well, that pitch was a tad outside, you might say. And it was called a strike as Worthington walks away from the plate.
There is no reason to walk away or anything. Just stand in there and take your medicine at this point. Believe me, you don't want to get the umpires on your bad side in a game like this.
The Yankees leading 5-4 in the 9th inning against Detroit.
Walks by the Blue Jays pitching staff. That ties a team record. And there's a strikeout, and that'll just do it. It'll only be tied.
16-3 through 8. You're watching Labatt's Blue Jays baseball on TSN. 16-3, Baltimore leading. 15 walks, not 14, have been issued by Blue Jay pitching. And that is definitely a club record, as Junior Felix will lead it off and try to get the Blue Jays out of their misery here in the 9th inning.
And that record was established back when the team was pretty bad. You wouldn't expect that kind of record to be broken in a year like this when the Blue Jays are expected to contend, but it's been one of those nights. Errors, walks, stranded batters, a base runner thrown out at home.
Don't forget the Orioles will be in Toronto for a 3-game series. Felix hits a ground ball. Milligan backhands it, flips it to Tibbs.
Randy Milligan has enjoyed a fine night, not only at the plate but in the field as well. I mentioned earlier that Traver and Milligan, the 2 first basemen, have only made 1 error this year. They felt like first base might be a problem for them defensively, but Milligan flips nicely to Tibbs covering, and they get to Speedy Felix.
He has played well down there tonight.
Made some good plays.
Now Tony Fernandez, who has a couple of hits. Don't forget, tomorrow night, John Cerruti. Oh, he hits that over the head of Worthington for a base hit. Well, you talk about being perfectly executed. That slugging bunt.
He doesn't really know where he's going to go with it until he sees the pitch on its way. And once Worthington steps in a step or so, when Fernandez shortened up, he just shot it over there. Watch Ripken. He's always playing hard. He wants to make sure that Fernandez doesn't get that extra base. Squares around and then just slaps at it. Pushes it over there. The Butcher Boy. The Baltimore Chop.
So 3 hits for Tony Fernandez tonight. Now, that is effort.
If you can't play like Cal Ripken, you shouldn't even be around. Play as hard as he does all 9 innings and things will work out.
I wonder if there's a chance you'll see Manny Lee back at third base and Gruber in the outfield tomorrow.
I don't think so. I think Gruber will be right back out there. Just one of those games.
No, but it's to get Manny Lee's bat in the lineup. Gruber hits one deep to left. That could be out of here. It is. Kelly Gruber's got his 8th home run. That's his 3rd RBI tonight, so he's up to 41 runs batted in. As Fernandez scores. He had a double and RBI back in the 4th inning.
Well, a high fastball that Gruber got all leveled out on it. Not much doubt about this. Devereaux, who has moved over into left field defensively. He won't make a George Bell on this one as it goes well over the fence. He's a little bit late. Tibbs has really given the bullpen a shot in the arm. There's another look at it. He turns on that high fastball. Well into the night. Home run number 8 for Kelly Gruber.
But this will be a night he will long remember. 3 errors he has made down at third. Bell's had a good night at the plate as he pops that one up in the infield and flips his bat. Billy Ripken will take it. 2 down.
Bell 3 for 5 on the night. 3 singles.
So it is 16-5.
Not a lot to be happy about in that dugout right there. Come in trying to establish that you're back in the pennant race against the leading team in the East. And get your ears boxed.
Well, you've got to remember it's only 1 game.
That's the way Frank Robinson has approached this whole season. Hey, let's just wait and see where we are in September.
McGriff hits a rope to center field now. You can kiss that baby goodbye, too.
Well, Frank Robinson needed a break for his bullpen. Tibbs trying to give it to him, but he's now been touched up for 13 hits and 6 runs. McGriff with the long home run. Tibbs came into this game without allowing a home run. Now Gruber and McGriff get him in the 9th.
And it's a situation, there's no way that Tibbs should even be in this ball game at this point.
Well, I'm sure that the coaches and the manager have talked to him saying, listen, we need a break for our bullpen. We know you might not be as sharp as you should be.
Now Mosby hits a shot right at Billy Ripken for the 3rd out. And that's it. This game is history. 16-6, the final score. 13 hits for the Blue Jays, 4 errors. 11 hits and an error for the Baltimore Orioles. And if you can believe that, the Blue Jays out-hit the Orioles 13-11, but 15 walks. That was the difference in this one. That is for sure. 16-6 the final. You're watching Labatt's Blue Jays baseball on TSN.
Blue Jays didn't fare too well here in the opening game of the 3-game set. They get beat by the Orioles 16-6, although they out-hit the Orioles 13-11. But the Blue Jay pitchers, they walked 15 batters, and the infield made 4 errors. There's a look at the standings. Baltimore now 11 games over. They lead the Yankees. That's it tonight from Baltimore. You're watching Labatt's Blue Jays baseball on TSN.
plate. He doubles inside third base. And with Phil Bradley at the plate, this really set the tone for the entire game. Watch this pitch from Flanagan. It's behind Bradley. The Blue Jays went on to combine for 15 walks. Labatt's Blue Jays baseball has been brought to you by Labatt's Blue, the clean, true taste of Canada. By Esso retailers and agents across Canada. By your local bottler of Coca-Cola Classic. And by General Motors of Canada. This has been a special presentation of the Sports Network, produced in association with TV Labatt by authority the Toronto Blue Jays. The final score, the Orioles win it 16-6. The winning pitcher, Jay Tibbs, at 5-0. The loser, Mike Flanagan, at 4-6. The Labatt's players of the game: for Toronto, George Bell. He'll receive a selection of Remington products. And for Baltimore, Randy Milligan. He'll receive Cannon's new Prima shot. As well, an amateur baseball team will be the guest of George Bell and Remington at a future game. And all members of the Blue Jays pitching staff receive a selection of fine gifts presented by Absorbine Jr., the relief specialist, and by Duracell, the one that lasts. Our baseball magic winner, Kevin Faby of Ottawa. Major League Baseball next on TSN. Thursday the 29th, 7:30 Eastern, the Blue Jays and the Orioles go at it in Game 3. And Saturday, July the 1st at 7:30, the Expos host the Houston Astros. Now, stay tuned for extra innings, and our guest, the general manager of the Orioles, Roland Heeman. Give us a call, collect.